Good morning, everyone. I would like to call the 2018 annual meeting of the New England section of the PGA of Amerika to order. Before the start of the meeting, I ask that you all rise for the playing of our national anthem. Please remain standing. And we'd like to observe a moment of silence for those New England PGA members who have passed away this past year. Thank you. Meetings from the previous annual meeting were distributed to all New England PGA members via email. Copies of the minutes are available also at the registration desk. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion to waive the reading of and accept the minutes as read. So moved. Second. All in favor? Motion passes. The roll call has been completed via the sign-in sheets at the registration table. If you did not sign in, please do so in order to receive credits towards your member service requirements. Be sure to sign out when you leave as well. Before I begin with my president's report, there are a couple of housekeeping items I'd like to discuss. First, for anyone wishing to submit a new business item, forms were emailed in the annual meeting packet and they were available at the registration desk. New business constitutes any item which requires an action from the board of directors. Examples would be a request to change tournament policies, a proposal to amend the Constitution and bylaws. If you have a new business item, please submit it to one of the members of the section staff prior to the break. We're always very happy to see so many friendly faces in the audience, and I would like to take a moment to recognize some of our special guests who are here with us today. First, I would like to acknowledge our past presidents, Jimmy Norris, Steve Napoli, Jim Remy, Donnie Lyons, Jimmy Lane, Jack Gale, and Jimmy Tobin. Thank you for your service in the past, gentlemen. We also have several members of our Hall of Fame here with us. There's no greater honor than being elected into any PGA Hall of Fame. I would like each one of the Hall of Fame members to rise and be recognized. Staff in the audience as well. Michael Packard, our career services consultant. Ryan Bain, our PGA Junior League manager. And we're very fortunate to have Noel Gabauer, our national PGA director from District 1 from the Northeast New York section. And lastly, we're honored to have joining us today our secretary of the PGA of Amerika, Mr. Jim Richardson. Before I get into my president's report, I would like to show everyone a quick recap video created by our staff.
I feel like new sunglasses Yeah, we've had stretches where I played okay, and then I was lousy. He played okay, and he was lousy. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's not a stroke play event. It's a match play event, and we're fortunate to be victorious again.
My legs are sore, but the game feels good. Made a couple great 4 and 18. I hoselled it almost into the woods, got a great kick, and made a 15-footer to keep it going to give me a chance to make that one. So I'm thrilled.
And we never doubled up. We made 9 birdies, no bogeys, and it just seemed way too easy. It was a lot of fun.
Please join me in congratulating our 2018 New England PGA Senior Champion, Kirk Hannafelt.
It's hard to win a tournament anywhere against any field, and to be able to come here and win this tournament for the second time, it's very good.
What an exciting finish to our 2018 New England PGA Section Championship, and the 98th playing of this event certainly did not disappoint today. Rich Barbarian Jr. was able to get it done and solidify his 3rd championship victory, finishing the tournament at 7 under par.
Always means a lot, because this is for a New Englander. This is our big event of the year, and the one we cherish the most. And it'll always mean a lot to me, this tournament.
It's been an awesome year. I've thought I've played pretty well, and in the past I've had a hard time kind of finishing tournaments and finishing rounds when I was new to the section, and now playing a little bit more and understanding how to kind of finish a round and how to control myself and how to kind of control my game. That's really helped me.
Overall champion for the season-long stroke play series, Liam Freed.
Like when I close my eyes and don't even care if anyone sees me dancing. Like I can fly and I don't even think I'm touching the ground. Yeah, like a heartbeat skip, like an open page, like a one-way trip on an aeroplane. It's the way that I feel when I'm with you. Brand new.
Being the president of the New England Session is very special for many reasons, but being here with the membership and being able to see my PGA professionals this is always one of my favorite days of the year. I think it's always important to reflect on where you come from, but I think it's more crucial to know where you're going. The New England Section never loses sight of where we're going, and it's imperative that we continue to grow and change with the times. I've seen the New England Section grow significantly since I was elected your secretary in 2013, and I know our growth will continue in the future with proper planning and focus, but we still have a lot of work to do. The New England Section has continued our strategy to grow our programs, services, and financial strength, identifying long-term strategic objectives and focusing on protecting our assets while maintaining continued financial stability. And it's been very important to this board of directors to do that. Before I go much further, it would be very difficult for the section to accomplish our goals if it were not for the wonderful and dedicated staff we have in place. On behalf of the board of directors and the entire membership, I would like to thank each and every one of them for their tireless efforts on our behalf. Thank you. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize ladies and gentlemen that are sitting here in the front row. Your section board is a passionate and dedicated group of PGA professionals, and I'm honored to serve with you all. So thank you very much from me and from the membership. In order for our section to continue moving forward, we need to keep our focus on good quality playing opportunities with purses that make entering worthwhile and ensure that we create an experience that is worth our time and efforts. We need to make sure we provide better, more meaningful and solid education so that our members can grow personally and professionally. We need to hear from all of you so that we can provide our members the best member experience possible. Remember, this is not Ron Bevo's PGA, okay? This is our section and all of yours, and I want you to be as proud of it as I am. As a section, we need to continue our focus on cultivating effective and engaged leaders. I strongly believe that the chapters and the committees are the key resource for our success moving forward. We've made great progress with our committees, but we need to do even better and even more. This is the outlet for our members. This is when you should get involved as a committee member and get involved in what we're doing. You know, and that's where the progress really begins, and that's where the ideas really begin, is from you. We can sit in this room and bark out ideas, but we want your ideas on how to make things better. Most of us started our leadership track in the home chapters. I was a district director like everybody else. I was on the board of the main chapter. I always remember Jimmy telling me, when you were the PGA president, the first thing you always said was, I'm a Vermont chapter member. You know, so I think everybody should keep that in mind. And it's really the most local level, and certainly where you can make some inroads. There are great things happening in each of our 6 chapters, and I think each one can learn from the other. This will not only make our section better, but make it stronger. And don't get me wrong, our section is strong. Our tournament program is one of the strongest in the country, and our PGA professionals compete at the highest level, locally, nationally. We had 2 of our NEPGA members play in the PGA Championship this summer. Let's recognize Rich Bavarian Jr. and Sean Warren, so that was really awesome. I'm extremely proud of the education we have available to our section members. We're committed to making the best even better. And Secretary Bradshaw will dig deeper into this topic during this presentation. I'm proud that it's really the true first year of our programming for our foundation, and we were able to have 4 successful PGA Hope programs, granted 6 PGA professional grants, distributing over $30,000 in academic scholarships, and raised about $70,000 for future programming. I'm excited that our junior program is healthy and our junior tour now expands all over 5 states. Drive, chip, and putt, what do I have to say about that? Everybody's excited about that. PGA Junior League with the direction from Brian Bain we're the best in the country. Is that correct, Brian? We have the most, I know you'll talk about it later, but we have the most teams, the most players. So everybody should be proud of that. I'm really proud of the communication through the Friday 4 Caddy, our section newsletter, our 4 very active social media outlets, and our website. We understand everyone likes to receive their communication through different means, and we want to provide you the current and most important information we can right at your fingertips. I believe Mike's going to talk earlier about a website change as well, Mike, to make it a little bit better, a little bit more usable. You know, it's with much excitement and honor that I announced that the New England section is in negotiations with the Haven Club in Boylston, Massachusetts for our home site. Is Jack Neville in the audience? He's not. He's coming. He's coming. Years of meetings, surveying, and site visits have finally come to fruition. The Haven has been the host facility of our Pro Stroke Play Championship for almost 50 years. They're huge supporters of the NEPGA and our PGA professionals, and they're excited to have the New England PGA on their property as we are going to be there. I want to thank Hal Jacobs, is Hal in the audience? He's not. For his efforts in making this possible. Our new home will house our Hall of Fame, co-house our foundation, and allow staff that adequate parking. The environment provides enough storage and possibly even housing for prospective interns. I promise you that we will create something that you will be proud to call your home, and will leave a legacy for the NEPGA for the next 40 years. In 1 week, the officers, Mike Higgins and myself, will be joining Noel and Jim at the PGA Amerika meeting in Palm Springs. This is an election year. There are 4 outstanding candidates that have submitted paperwork to become the next secretary. Your officers and myself spent a significant amount of time getting to know these fine gentlemen at past national meetings, super regionals, We had one in Atlanta in February, I believe, and through many phone conversations. Through our efforts, we as a board of directors, not Ron Bebo and Alan Belvin, decided to support John Linder as Secretary of the PGA of Amerika. John is a green grass golf professional from Lansing, Michigan, and we feel his platform and ideas best match up with ours in the New England section. But we also feel they best match up for any PGA member in general. Also at the PGA meeting, there was one resolution before the delegates which was submitted by us. To simplify the amendment process, we would like to simplify the amendment process of submitting resolutions to bylaws by creating one submission deadline. For those of you that don't know, right now there are 2 deadlines for sections. You have to submit your resolution by July 1st, and the board of directors can submit their resolutions on September 1st. We would like to make it one deadline on September 1st. Speaking with Jim and Noel last night, they seem to think that it's a good resolution. It's kind of a housekeeping issue, really. There was one concern, Jim, that it might be because of getting prepared to submit the resolution at the national meeting was the reason why they had it on July 1st. But what are we all doing on July 1st? Most of us are working, okay, and working long hours. When do we have time to do that? So anyways, we're going to do that. You know, there's many concerns that arise in the industry in the height of the busy golf season, but that's really the reason why we're doing this. As the section moves forward into 2019, I want to reassure you all that we are committed to long-term success of the New England PGA. 5, 10, 15 years down the road are dates that we commonly use in our planning discussions. Here you go, guys. This is a little private joke amongst us on the board. When Ron takes off his glasses, he's going to go off on a tangent, so I apologize. You know, all of you know that my message has been, during my tenure as your president, is what's your why? Okay, I'm not going to go into that today, but what I want you to realize is the reason why we do things in this business, there's a lot of different reasons, because obviously we make a living, we're trying to support our family, we have passion for the game. What I want you to realize is I'm looking at a bunch of rock stars right now. I mean, this comes from my friend Tony Decker at the main chapter meeting. Realize what you've done and how you've gotten there. Think about what you've done in your career, about growing the game, working with juniors, instructions, that your playing career, whatever you've done. Look in the mirror and realize who you really are. And you guys, and you ladies and gentlemen, as far as I'm concerned, are rock stars sitting in this room. I wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for you, standing here right now if it wasn't for you. So if you can just really, moving into the winter season and looking into the off season, really look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm a rock star. Go back to your club and go up to your manager or your owner or whatever and say, you know what, look at him and say, I am the rock star at this facility and you have to have me here. In that, it's an honor, a privilege to serve as your president. I enjoy it immensely. I've made unbelievable friends, and I consider all of you my friends in the audience. Have a very prosperous off season, and enjoy I'll see you hopefully down the road somewhere. So thank you very much. Now I'd like to call our Vice President, Alan Belden, up for his Vice President's role.
Thanks, Ron. Good morning, and thank you to everyone for taking the time to attend our annual fall meeting here at Renaissance. This is an exciting day for the NEPGA as we approach the end of another successful year. We're also very fortunate to have our national officers in attendance with us today. Thank you to Secretary Richardson for taking time out of his busy schedule to be with us, and also thank you to Noel Bauer, our District 1 Director, for being with us today. The 2018 golf season provided some challenges for all of us, with weather playing a significant role in our events throughout the season. It seemed as though the warm weather would never get here, then when it did, it was extreme, and it seemed as though it would never end. And now we're in the fall season that has been wrought with heavy rain and colder than normal temperatures. With all the flux in the weather, the good news is that there were not a lot of days that were complete washouts. And in spite of the weather and the challenges that we faced, the New England PGA had a very successful season, and we are in a very solid financial position. As I'm sure you would expect, the section tournament department is our largest revenue producer. Our tournament participation saw significant growth from 2017, especially in our major championships. We saw an 11% increase in our section championship, a 31% increase in our assistants championship, and we were flat year over year in our senior championship. And looking at some of the stats provided by Blue Golf, you will notice that some interesting participation numbers. 611, or 59% of our membership, played in at least one event in 2018, and that is up 4% from last year. 389 played between 1 and 5 events, that is up 20 from 2018. And 113 played between 6 and 10 events, which was down 7. 53 played between 11 and 15 events, that's up 10. 29 played between 16 and 20, and 27 played in 21 events or more, and 1 individual played in 33 events. We did have 414 NEPGA professionals that did not participate in even one event this year, and we would love to see that number continue to trend down next year. But I'm still very pleased with our participation at the section and chapter level. It is great to see our professionals supporting our tournament program. Playing is, after all, what drew us to the business in the first place. Our junior tour participation saw some very solid numbers with 120 events and almost 900 members, which I'm pleased to announce that these are both record numbers for the NEPGA Foundation. The New England Series enjoyed 288 members in 2018, which is actually down slightly from 2017, but our participation numbers remain solid. Two short years ago, going back to 2015, we had 498 rounds played in New England Series events. Last year we had just over 1,200, and this year we are inching towards 1,300. The New England Series has become a profitable revenue stream for the section and also our PGA professionals and their facilities. This year we will generate over $169,000 in revenue to host facilities and PGA professionals. The very talented tournament staff worked hard to promote events, recruit players, and also did a tremendous job of controlling operating expenses. With a full-time and seasonal section staff of 13, we conducted over 300 tournaments in the New England section from April to October, and we will actually be conducting 3 events this year in November. I tell you these numbers not to impress you, but to impress upon you how active your section is, and it is certainly something to be proud of. Thank you to the entire NEPGA staff for their dedication and hard work. As New England PGA professionals, we are very fortunate to have access to the Pga section programs. I encourage all of you to please participate when you can, and host when you can as well. Finding facilities for all of these events is never easy, and we appreciate the support of you and your members. One of the other things that we are also happy to report is even though member benefits and services have continually increased, we have not had a dues increase in New England in over 14 years. The efforts of our staff, current board members, as well as those that served in the past have all done a great job of being visionary and forward-thinking in an effort to put our section in the very strong position we are today. Under the leadership of our ED, Mike Higgins, and with the efforts of the entire staff, along with the guidance of the board, we have been able to increase sponsorships and create partnerships that have been invaluable, allowing us to create programs and events that have made the NEPGA a leader in the eyes of all sections across the country. The business of running this section continues to increase in scope and size. Our general operating has increased significantly since my last tenure as a board member, which ended in 2008. Our section and foundation revenue to date is just over $2.1 million, and by the end of the year, our operations forecast will be close to, if not over, $3 million. And even as the size of the section and its business has increased, we as a board continue to focus on making sure that our decisions will positively impact all members, regardless of chapter or demographic. President Bebo announced the exciting news for potential home site of the NEPGA at the Haven in Boylston, Mass. This was a very important topic to past leadership, and a building fund was created over 20 years ago for such an occasion. Today we have $390,000 in that building account, and with our relationship with the Pga Bank, we are already pre-approved for a construction loan. With a low interest loan from Pga and the savings in our building fund, we anticipate that our annual cost for our new office space will be close to or less than what we are currently paying in rent in the current location. In addition to having a brand new facility that the NEPGA section can be proud to call home, we will also have enough space for storage as well as room for growth into the future. As we worked on the financial planning for 2018, the Finance Committee and I went through the budget line by line with Mike Higgins. I would like to thank my fellow committee members, Brian Bickford, Stephen Mann, Glenn Kelly, and Mike Bradshaw, for for their help. I can assure you all that controlling costs and spending our resources efficiently is a major focus. The financials for the New England section will be posted on the members-only side of the website, and we'll be sending out our annual meeting packet post-meeting. If anyone has any questions, we're always happy to discuss the financials and any line item with any of our members. In the spring meeting, you heard me discuss the New England section's partnership with Greystone Consulting to manage our long-term investments. When I was a board member back in 2008, we had under $700,000 in our account. Through proper management, continued contributions, and a strong market, we are currently at just over $2 million in our long-term investments. 2018 year-to-date through the end of September, we're up $62,000. We do anticipate seeing a decline in that number as October has seen a significant pullback. This money is comprised of section and chapter funds, the building fund, and scholarships. With the potential for a very volatile market over the next few years, our board, with the guidance of Greystone, has spread our money out between moderately aggressive and low-risk funds. The hard-earned money for academic scholarships are in a much more conservative fund because we do not want the money for our children's educations impacted by a significant dip in the market. One of the things that I have stressed is that it is easy to become complacent in a bull market. The board has made it a priority to make sure that we are constantly monitoring the investments to make sure we are positioned correctly. The time to act is ahead of the extreme highs or lows in the market. If you are making adjustments during the wild swings that we're seeing now, it is already too late. The board of directors has leaned on Greystone early and often to make sure we are meeting our goals, and we are very happy with their performance and service. As a reminder, they are offering NEPGA professionals the same discount they offer the NEPGA on your personal account. This is another member benefit that is available to all. If you do not have a retirement plan in place, I cannot encourage you enough to do so. The one thing you can never buy more of is time. If you do not have someone to help you with your retirement planning, Greystone is available. It is my pleasure to serve on this board with all my fellow board members. The dedication and willingness to serve of all of the individuals in the front of this room is awesome. Thank you for everything that you do, for myself and the entire membership of the NEPGA. I will be around following the meeting should you have any questions. Best wishes for the remainder of the fall season, and have a happy and healthy holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. At this time, the chair calls Mike Bradshaw from Kirkbrake Country Club to give his secretary's report.
Good morning, everyone. We're half hour in, nobody mentioned the Red Sox yet. I mean, come on. Sorry. I mean, really? If you start nodding off, I know we're a little light on sleep around here, so, you know, I won't take it personally. Good morning, everybody. As President Bevo mentioned, the roll call for today's meeting is being covered by the registration process in the hallway. Please make sure you have signed in with the section staff, and you will need to sign out on the way out when you leave in order to be credited for your MSR hours. As we put a close to another New England golf season here in the day-to-day grind, hopefully lessens a little bit for everybody. It's always nice to sit back and think about this amazing organization we're all a part of. We have 29,000 and change members throughout the country, over 1,000 members here in New England. It's truly a remarkable fraternity, always willing to help each other in any way. From young or old, public or private, grizzled veteran, or I guess unseasoned rookie you could call it, you should know that if you have a question or concern, you always have a shoulder to lean on in one of your fellow PGA members. Last year, as we traveled on the campaign to all the chapters, it amazed me that while the venue may change and the faces are different, many of the stories are the same and they're always amazing. The golf professional is, as President Bevo stole my line, a rock star at their facility, and I urge everyone to capitalize on this at your facility. Speaking of rock stars, we've had an astounding 27 professionals earn their PGA membership since the spring meeting. These new members are the lifeblood of our association, and it's great to see such a large graduating class this season. It is always a proud moment when you earn your PGA membership, and it's a career-defining achievement that you will always cherish. At this time, I will name all of these new members, and if they're present, I'd ask that they please come to the front of the room, and President Bevo will present them with a PGA pin that can probably be worn from this day forward. This is just a small token of congratulations from the over 1,000 members of the New England section. Michael Abadi, PGA, Vineyard Golf Club. Reed Besh, PGA, Rhode Island Country Club. Timothy Bosch, PGA, Sankaty Head Golf Club. Ronald Coro Jr., PGA, Salem Country Club. Jameson Collar, PGA, Sankaty Head Golf Club. Sean Guan, PGA, Milton Husick Club. Michael Haas Zangi, PGA, Nonsuch River Golf Club. Jonathan Hyde, PGA, Nantucket Golf Club. Thomas Hughes, PGA, Nashua Country Club. Richard Hunt, PGA, Myakama Golf Club. John Cade, PGA, Eastwood Ho Country Club. Mark Comise, PGA, Winchester Country Club. Dare Kular, PGA, Shelter Harbor Golf Club. Patrick McDowell, PGA, Brookline Golf Course. Eric McInerney, PGA, McGolf Driving Range. Allison Mitzel, PGA, Laconia Country Club. Dennis Molaris, PGA, Nantucket Golf Club. Timothy Mooney, PGA, Cape Cod National Golf Club. Alexander Nyland, PGA, Worcester Country Club. Tyler Nosk, PGA, Nantucket Golf Club. Sol Key Park, PGA, Winchester Country Club. Todd Prescott, PGA, Cochico Country Club. David Rue, PGA, Stowe Acres Country Club. Kyle Schroeder, PGA, Cohasset Golf Club. Michael Slayton, PGA, St. Johnsbury Country Club. Zachary Stahl, PGA, The Ridge Club. And Kelly Violette, PGA, Braeburn Country Club. Please join me with a round of applause for these ladies and gentlemen. As we see these young men and women beginning their careers in this fantastic game, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some of our seasoned veterans who have reached two tremendous milestones in their careers this year. First, the Board of Directors and I would like to congratulate the following New England PGA section members who are the newest members of the PGA Quarter Century Club for their 25 years of service in this organization. Keith Barber, PGA. Robert Citrano Jr., PGA. Mike Derone, PGA. Frank Dully, PGA. Karen Gray, PGA. Mike Haverl, PGA. Rich Hassenfuss, PGA. Kenneth Johnson, PGA. Bruce McDonald, PGA. Peter Marr, PGA. Marshall Malone, PGA. Mark O'Brien, PGA. Stephen Rogers, PGA. Thomas Rooney, PGA. Michael Ryan, PGA. Dave Tiedemann, PGA. Congratulations, Dave. Jean Marie Waters, PGA. Daniel Wilkins, PGA, and Chuck Yeager, PGA. Congratulations to those ladies and gentlemen. Going as fast as I can through the names. And while to some of our members, 25 years may seem like a lifetime, and some of them it may actually be, we also have two section professionals who have surpassed 50 years of service in the association this season. Please give me a round of applause to congratulate Jay Dolan, PGA, and Robert Menny, PGA, as the newest members of the PGA. Currently, the New England section has 1,039 members, made up of 911 Class A professionals and 128 associates, which results in us being the 8th largest section of the 41 sections in the PGA of America. Of those 128 associates in the New England section, 32 of them, or 25%, are currently suspended. The good news is that this number has decreased through the spring, and it continues to remain below the national average. Unfortunately, we also have 21 Class F members as of the end of this month, many of which are due to professionals not being able to complete their MSR requirements at the end of this cycle this past June. While many may view it as an unattainable goal, our goal as a section is to have 0 suspended members and associates. I ask that if you know of an associate or member who is struggling to become active or maintain his or her membership, please implore him or her to reach out to myself, the section staff, or a member of the membership committee, as we are always happy to help. Also within the New England section at this time, there are 833 facilities. 459 of these facilities are staffed by a PGA professional, representing 55.4% of the facilities in our geographic area. Increasing the number of PGA staff facilities is vital to the health of our membership and our association. If you do know of a facility in your area that does not currently have a PGA professional, but seems to you to be a viable option, please contact Mike Packard, PGA Employment Consultant, or the section office so that they can assist in the process. As we look towards 2019 and beyond, I'd like to remind you that we're just a short 961 days from the end of the current MSR cycle. But in all seriousness, there are a number of new changes to the MSR requirements in the new cycle, including MSRs for national surveys, counting towards the PGA required category, and double the amount of MSRs available for conducting PGA Junior League. Please make sure you take a look at the new requirements that are posted on PGA.org. Also, don't forget that you always have numerous opportunities at the PGA Merchandise Show in January. Let's take a quick look at a preview video for the upcoming show in January of 2019.
Kick off the year with thousands of your peers and industry professionals as they gather for the leading golf industry event of the year, the 2019 PGA Merchandise Show, the major of golf business. Begin the week with PGA Show Demo Day, the largest outdoor demo event in the world, and test the newest equipment and technologies from over 100 leading companies at the Orange County National Golf Center. And you can take your teaching game to the next level with instructional workshops taught by world-class instructors, providing insights and priorities for golfers in fitness. Immerse yourself in all the show has to offer during the PGA Show Days and Education Conference at the Orange County Convention Center. Explore over 1,000 companies featuring tens of thousands of products and services in business, equipment, technology, fitness, teaching, apparel, and so much more. Extend your knowledge through the PGA Show Education Conference, where you'll find sessions relevant to your career growth through curated tracks and industry certifications. Hear from experts and leading instructors, and network and share ideas with some of the brightest minds in the industry. Discover major golf brands, new products, and what's next and trending in fashion and apparel. Network with thousands of fellow golf industry professionals and leaders to share ideas and best practices in the business. Grow your business, earn MSR credits, and gain insights through the PGA Show Education Conference. You'll find it all here at the 2019 PGA Merchandise Show, the major of golf business. We'll see you in Orlando.
I also urge everyone to take advantage of the excellent educational opportunities we have offered here in our own section. The NEPGA University is once again off and running with the Education Committee hard at work on the winter 2018-2019 schedule of events that will provide pertinent education for all of our section professionals. We've paired up with many of our partners to provide informative events that apply to all 5 pillars of the university's mission: golf operations, merchandising, teaching, career development, and personal wellness. Just this afternoon, for example, we're hosting an employment summit with sessions dedicated to important topics such as resume construction, confident interviewing techniques, leadership training, and public speaking. I should go to that one, I guess. Coming soon, you'll see events on topics such as club fitting, teaching and coaching, and as well as another certified professional program opportunity for our section professionals. December 13th and 14th are the dates for the Teaching and Coaching CPP program right here at the Renaissance Club. Becoming a certified professional is another way to build your brand at your facility and showcase you as the true golf expert. As I mentioned back in the spring, over the past 3 years, the NEPGA has hosted almost 70 educational events at locations throughout, resulting in over 200 hours of high-quality, valuable education on a vast array of topics. And I would wager that this would be the end of any other section. But what if you can't travel to one of those events? What if it conflicts with your schedule? What if it's up in Vermont or up in Maine and you're down in Westerly, Rhode Island? You see the emails from the section, you really wish you could go, but you just can't swing. In other sections, or in the past here in New England, you were basically out of luck. But now, thanks to a serious commitment effort by your board of directors and section staff, you're not going to be left out in the cold. That's because the NEPG University is now going digital. earn PGA required MSR credit for doing so after passing a short test. This is truly a groundbreaking approach to section education that will help our professionals for many years to come. Now if there's an event you can't make it to, you don't have to lose out on the knowledge. Log into the university web portal, as you can see on the screen, that has been developed in conjunction with BrainCert, and pick the course you'd like to attend. View the course materials and then pass a short examination at the conclusion of the video. Once you've passed the test, you successfully completed the course and will receive the applicable PGA required MSR credit. This digital platform is a one-of-a-kind offering that has the full support of our board of directors and the National Education Department, as well as many of our section partners. It is a culmination of many days and weeks and months of hard work by the section staff and the education committee in videotaping, editing, reviewing, and testing our events over the course of the past year. It's a fantastic member benefit, and I hope you all find it useful and rewarding in the months to come. Finally, I'd like to invite everyone in this room and those watching to increase their involvement. I'll be back at the podium later this morning with 2 resolutions that will hopefully make it easier for the New England PGA member and more inviting to do so at the section level. Whether it's at the section or the chapter level, or just bringing more to your own personal facility, you will find it unbelievably rewarding. In closing, I'd like everyone to imagine a tic-tac-toe board. As a golf professional, you're on the center square. At your facility, everything revolves around you and nothing works without you. From instruction to golf development, to dues and food and beverage, it all centers around you, the PGA professional. We all know how difficult it is to win at tic-tac-toe without the center square. Not exactly impossible, but definitely extremely improbable. The same goes at your facility. You are the one everyone needs and everyone wants to interact with. Why, you may ask? Well, that's in the square below you, fun. All that we do on a daily basis comes down to one simple, basic tenet. We are purveyors of fun. Make yourself better, make your facility better, but most importantly, make it fun, and have fun doing it. Thank you to everybody here and watching online and throughout the section for your time and support. It's been a truly humbling year, or truly humbling first year as your secretary, and I look forward to the future of the New England PGA. If there's anything I can do for you, please do not hesitate to reach out. Have a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. At this time, the chair calls our Executive Director, Mike Higgins, for his Executive Director's report.
Good morning, everyone. Very excited to be here. I'm usually run down and sick by the time the annual meeting gets here, and I actually feel good, so this is great. But it's wonderful to see so many New England PGA professionals here, and welcome to those of you who are watching us live on NewEnglandPGA.com. And certainly I want to thank our host PGA professional, Ref Bishop, and the wonderful folks here at Renaissance for hosting our section meeting. We had a terrific board meeting last night here at this wonderful facility, and it's always great to host a national officer and a national board member. So thank you, gentlemen, for joining us last night. So today is my 2,858th day on the job, and there's no place that I would rather be than right here in the New England section serving as your executive director. As you heard from our dedicated officers, the New England section had a very successful 2018. And after almost 22 years in the New England PGA, I'm often asked, is it like Groundhog Day? Do you ever get bored with what you do? And I always answer the same way, absolutely not. Year after year, I'm amazed at the efforts by our PGA professionals and the wonderful programs and success stories being carried out here in the New England section. I also get to witness firsthand the dedicated efforts and dedicated passion by the New England PGA staff that certainly understand what it means to serve the New England PGA member. Don Dion, Jim LeClaire, Chris Clayton, Max Doctoroff, Sean Duong, Kristen Garone, Mickey Aaron, David McAdams, J.C. Settles, Joan Stewart, Frank Swires, and Fergus Keene. On behalf of the entire membership, thank you so very much for all your efforts this year. I know how hard you work. I know the hours and the efforts that you put in each and every day, and we certainly appreciate it. I also cannot express how fortunate the New England section members are to have such a passionate and dedicated leadership team here in New England. This team is comprised of an engaged board of directors, past presidents, chapter leaders, active committees and staff that have fostered an environment where team goals far outweigh individual accomplishments. As you've heard in previous presentations by the officers, and you're going to continue to hear today, the New England section and our professionals are leaders in the country. This success can be attributed to the tremendous member support in business development, programming and participation, hosting events and activities, growing the game of golf, fundraising, and sponsorship procurement. As Vice President Belden mentioned, our operation and the scope of our business in the New England section has expanded significantly over the past few years. Since October 2009, our yearly revenue has grown by over $1 million annually, and our total assets sit over $2.3 million higher than they were in 2009. It's no fluke, and it's certainly not luck. Our success is very much reliant upon a quality business plan developed by our board of directors and section staff. But there is something special about our PGA professionals here in New England. This past Tuesday, there was a drawing for the Mega Millions for $1.6 billion. That's enough money to change your life, to change your lifestyle, to change the life and lifestyles of those around you. And I wanted to conduct a little bit of an experiment. So I reached out to some New England PGA professionals, didn't tell them why I was asking the question, but I said, what would you do if you were a winner? I felt like John Keonis, what would you do? And here were some of the responses that I received. I'd try to buy a golf course, and then I'd fly fish. I'd finish out my year, and then probably one more to train my replacement. Then I'd probably buy a golf course or build one. I would buy a place on the waterfront, join clubs all over the United States, and finally play some golf. I'd set up some golf scholarships, buy a place in Ireland. And here's my favorite one. I'd buy a golf course, become an owner, and harass you forever. Unfortunately, none of those PGA professionals won the Mega Millions, and their dreams didn't come true, but there's always next week. But the commonality, however, in all of these responses was the love for the game of golf by our PGA professionals. After a long season, the countless complaints received from members, the lost head covers that you're all personally responsible for losing, and this darn weather that we've had in 2018, PGA professionals want to still be around the game of golf. The passion and dedication by you all still remains even after so many years in the business. I don't think there's one of you in this room that is in this business for any other reason than your love for the game of golf. And who better to be the stewards of the game of golf than our PGA professionals? Prior to this experiment, some of you may have heard my talk on the 4 F's of golf and the 4 F's of PGA professionals, and this just reaffirms how true they really are. The first of the 4 F's that we talked about is family. Our families are the reason we do what we do every day. They're our biggest supporters, and they understand why we do what we do in this crazy business. But what about all the families that you in this room have impacted through the game of golf, through your careers? How many of you have taught the game of golf to a spouse or a child, and now they're able to spend more time as a family together because of you and because of your efforts? You've helped create the ability for years of trips and tournaments and hours of quality family time together because of your efforts. How many families have been brought closer together because of all of you in this room and because of the game of golf? The second one is fun. Who makes golf more fun, as Secretary Bradshaw said, than PGA professionals? From being a human snag target to hosting long drive contests with marshmallows, from grand marches at member guests to putting contests, PGA professionals know how to put the F in fun. You make the game enjoyable for all of us. The third F is friends. What is better than playing a round of golf with your 3 best friends? How about the friendships created by PGA professionals? Think about it. How many of you in this room have introduced new members together on the first tee on a Saturday morning, and now they're best buddies, they're thick as thieves? How many of you have seen golf allow friends of different sizes, genders, skill levels, even athleticism, enjoy each other's company, and even compete against one another? How about traveling together? Every year the New England section has an international pro-am, and I've seen teams from throughout the section meet for the first time in the airport or at the welcome dinner, and by the end of the week, everyone is lifelong pals. PGA professionals in the game of golf have been creating friends for hundreds of years. And the last one is fans. PGA professionals have so many fans, from the members at your facilities to the folks that read the tournament results in the newspapers and online. And as our officers have said, PGA professionals are the rock stars at their facilities and in their communities. Think about how many doctors or attorneys have their phone call screened, and then the receptionist puts right through the call from their golf pro. How many members line up for a chance to play with their PGA professional in a pro-am? How many times have you been in a supermarket and seen a junior from your junior clinic and you hear them say, "Oh, look, there's the golf pro." PGA professionals in the game of golf have so many fans. I truly hope that these 4 F's help you reflect even just a fraction on the impact that you've had on those around you as a PGA professional. What do you guys think? Is that pretty good? Jarvis makes a very good Gene Simmons. That's what you get for saying rock star so many times. In the spring, I spoke about the power of the PGA logo and the importance of the PGA brand and branding. And I get to see this firsthand when I meet with potential partners, and I see how eager they are to associate with all of you and associate with the PGA brand. And when I ask if there's some sort of member benefit we can work into a partnership, is there a way we can work in a benefit for our PGA professionals, they're very excited to get creative with the conversation. And here are some examples that we have locally. Through our local partnerships with Lincoln Motors, New England PGA professionals and your friends and family can receive preferred pricing on new vehicles. Through our relationship with Hole in One USA, you can receive commissions on any insurance that you encourage an outing to use. Your section has its own credit card, where a percentage of every purchase goes back to our New England Pga Foundation. Plus, you not only get paid $100 per year to have this credit card, you receive 3 reward points for every dollar spent. And those business owners have a 3-month no interest, no payment option to maximize your returns in your shop. You have merchant processing options that will reduce your fees that you currently pay, provide waived PCI compliance fees, no annual fees to doing PGA professionals, and they provide free terminals and 50,000 reward points to you in the PGA credit card. How about now there's a new referral bonus from our friends at NEPGA Bank. Every time you refer someone for the credit card or merchant processing or a home or auto loan with NEPGA Bank, you'll receive additional points to your rewards account. These are all benefits for you that we've worked on your behalf. Through a new recent local partnership with Delta Airlines, who are opening up 13 new terminals in Boston and are going to be flying out of Worcester in the spring, New England PGA professionals are going to be able to take advantage of the national partnership pricing, as well as preferred seating and priority boarding here in New England. And I'm really excited to announce a new member benefit partner, NFP Insurance. We now have an insurance provider that through group bundling will be able to offer some amazing benefits to New England PGA professionals. New England PGA professionals are going to be put into a special category where you will receive increased service levels through a VIP program that they created originally for high net worth individuals and celebrity customers such as NBA players, Major League Baseball players, and even rock stars, because all of you are rock stars. How about a $10 million umbrella policy for less than $1,500 a year for our PGA professionals? How about preferred pricing on insurance for your business, your home, your auto, and even yourselves? And what I'm really excited about is over the next few months, we're very hopeful to have an insurance plan for our PGA professionals. I don't want to get everyone's hopes up, but this will be very, very, very big for our New England PGA professionals. So we worked very hard to find partners for the New England PGA. We worked very hard to create member benefits for our New England PGA professionals. And I hope that you take the time to thank our partners every opportunity you have, and I hope you consider taking advantage of some of these benefits that we've created for you here today. Because there's no better way for me to show our partners that investing in the New England PGA and investing in our PGA professionals is good for their business than showing them the support by each of you. It's an honor for me to serve as your executive director. These past 22 years, or 7,832 days as a New England PGA employee, have been some of the most rewarding in my life. I extend my heartfelt appreciation to you for allowing me to be part of this great section. Look for the New England PGA to continue to grow in an aggressive yet reasonable manner for the ultimate benefit of PGA golf professionals in New England, as well as everyone connected to this game. Please accept my best wishes for a healthy and prosperous 2019, and be sure to reach out to me or any of our talented New England PGA staff if we can ever be of assistance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. At this time, the chair calls on NEPGA Honorary President Robb Jarvis to give the NEPGA Foundation report.
Thank you, Ron. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for coming today, and I appreciate a little of your time to talk about the NEPGA Foundation. I'm proud to say that 2018 has been a very successful year for the Foundation. In our first full year of programming, we've made wonderful progress and set the tone for what I believe in years to come will grow into the PGA of America's largest section foundation. As you know, there are many facets to the Foundation portfolio, and I'd like to touch on some aspects of each, but first we have a great video we'd like to show. It'll recap a lot of it.
Right after I came back from Afghanistan, I was wound a little tightly, and I felt like there was something that I wanted to do to really relax, and I thought golf was a great way to do it.
A band of brothers and sisters out on the course, brought together by the New England PGA Foundation. PGA Hope, or Helping Our Patriots Everywhere, took New England by storm this season. As the NEPGA Foundation's first main initiative, it looks to teach military veterans the game of golf.
It shows them possibilities. It shows them that the world isn't over if it's a physical.
So we have a 14-year-old or a 9-year-old with special needs.
Or if they've had other battles that they're trying to get over. It shows them that the camaraderie that they felt while they were in the service can still be available through programs like these.
4 New England facilities had adopted the program and had great successes. From Bangor, Maine.
Well, I actually like getting together with all the veterans here, and it's a good opportunity for us. And learned a few things also, maybe straighten out a drive or two.
To Buttonhole in Rhode Island, over 100 veterans benefited from the program. Most participants could care less about the strokes and score. It was all about finding a sense of community on the course.
Well, one of my friends who was injured in Iraq, the first time he left his house for 7 months was to come to one of these golf clinics. It brought his wife to tears when she saw him out here. The following clinic, he brought his 3 kids and his wife, so we had the whole family.
Elsewhere, the NEPGA Foundation is committed to enriching lives through the game of golf. At children's hospital visits, junior golf contributions, and diversity inclusion. The Foundation's grant program makes these successes possible. Over $12,000 was given to 6 programs coordinated by PGA professionals this season to help them run PGA Hope clinics, junior programs, and more. There's so much more to the Foundation than PGA Hope. The NEPGA Junior Tour helps provide competitive golf experiences to junior golfers all across New England. NEPGA Drive, Chip, and Putt programs provide a pathway to Augusta National for lucky competitors. To date, over $550,000 in scholarships have been awarded to junior golfers headed to college, and $30,000 was awarded just this year. These scholarships further the Foundation's dedication to helping children of PGA professionals and young golfers in NEPGA programs succeed in their lives. After a great year, the NEPGA Foundation is headed for a strong 2019.
On that video, as a lot of you know, that's a big deal for us. That was a major hurdle to overcome in a year, to have something like that we can produce to show not just our membership, but partners as well, It's a big step, and I'm very proud that we accomplished that. So great work to our staff. First thing I'd like to talk about is our grant program. This spring we launched our NEPGA Professional Grant Program, and we're proud to say the foundation has distributed $12,000 this year in support of our PGA professionals and their facilities, and will continue to do so in 2019. You can see on the screen here, we have the New Hampshire First Tee program, Kindness Cares, which is a wonderful program at Worcester Country Club, Acadian Youth Sports at Keble Valley Club in Maine, the Travis Mills Foundation in Waterville Country Club, Independence Day Classic, Jim Tobin ran that event at Patriot Golf Club, our PGA Junior League year-end banquet, we helped the kids have a nice lunch there, and Spalding Rehab Hospital with Rick Johnson. So some wonderful and diverse groups there. So we're certainly very proud of those who ran the programs, and our new applications are going to be coming out the first of the year. So I want you to look for those. We'll send out a special email form, but all the information will be on our website. There's a couple details that I'll share just so you know going into it. Our first deadline, we're moving it a little earlier this year, is going to be April 1st. $2,500 maximum to each applicant, same as this year. The program request must be in line with the with the foundation's mission, improving lives through the game of golf, and it must satisfy at least one of the three pillars: youth, military, or diversity and inclusion. There also must be some charitable component associated with the program. There are several conditions of acceptance. A lot of those are what you see in that video. Without those conditions of acceptance, we don't get that stuff. So please pay attention to that when you apply for a grant. Moving on to junior golf. Junior golf is a major component of the foundation. PGA Junior League, Drive, Chip, and Putt, and the NEPGA Junior League, or NEPGA Junior Tour, are all part of the foundation's portfolio. This year, the NEPGA Junior Tour had a record-breaking 894 members. We held 120 different junior golf tournaments throughout the section this year. And in total, juniors played 3,686 rounds in NEPGA competition this year. That's a lot of rounds. What's equally as exciting is we've expanded our geography. We now manage the Vermont Junior Tour, the Maine Junior Tour, and the Cape Cod Junior Tours. So there's no doubt we are on the right track with junior golf. And I can't wait to see what PGA Junior League and the numbers we're putting through there do to our NEPGA Junior Tour. Speaking of which, I don't want to steal too much of Brian Bain's speech, because he certainly has earned it. Number one again in the number of captains, teams, and total players. That's impressive. I'm not sure how many years in a row that is, but I know it's at least a couple. Certainly some great things to come for 2019. If you don't have a team yet, or you're on the fence, please reach out to Brian. He can help you get it going. He helped me get it going, and he's done a wonderful job in New England. Drive, Chip, and Putt was another win for New England juniors. We all knew that was going to be quite an initiative, but I'm not sure that we knew just how great it would become. We owe some special thanks to our golf courses that hold at our regionals and sub-regionals: Valhalla, Buttonhole, the International, the Bay Club, Cranberry Valley, Cyprian Keys, Wyndham Country Club, Granite Links, and the Queenie Club, all hosted regionals. And we also want to thank the Renaissance and Pine Hills for hosting our sub-regionals. Without the help of these fine facilities and their professionals, and all the volunteers that help, we would certainly not be able to offer this experience for the kids. PGA Hope, you saw in the video, certainly is something near and dear to my heart. It was our biggest initiative for 2018, and certainly will be going forward. We had 4 Hope programs this summer, and we're trying to make sure that we can add 2 more this following season for 2019. A little bit about the program: 6 weeks, free instruction, and then we offer playing opportunities after, which was just the greatest thing, coming from somebody who hosted one, getting the people on the golf course. They had so much fun, totally different than anything I had ever done. You can see, yeah, that was me wearing shorts. It was about 95 degrees. The woman who was with me, Dawn, is one of our players, and she was so shy for the camera. But the program really meant a lot to her. And she's a combat veteran, and when I asked her if she would do it and told her what the video will help us do, send the message out there, she put all that fear aside of being on camera and hopped right in there. So just that little interaction tells you how much the program means to me. Scholarships. As you know, the NEPGA Weems Scholarship is now part of the NEPGA Foundation. As part of our desire to increase both the availability and dollar amount of scholarships awarded, 10% of all unrestricted contributions made to the NEPGA Foundation are allocated to the scholarship fund benefiting our children, grandchildren, and stepchildren. As the video said, all said, we've awarded $30,000 this year in scholarships to our PGA professionals, families, and to children on our junior tour this year. What's even more exciting is now we have facilities starting their own scholarships. Mike Bradshaw and Kirkbrae Country Club have started one for Stan Baluk, and some friends and family of our late partner and longtime supporter Terry Frechette have also started a scholarship in his name to be awarded through the NEPGA Foundation. So this is a great example of how your club and partners can help us grow much needed opportunities for kids from all over New England. Our scholarship program is the next big piece. We have Tony Decker as our committee chair, and I know he's excited. He couldn't make it here today, but he's excited to get going on trying to diversify our offerings and streamline the process a little bit. So look for some more information for that to come out after our planning session in December. Lastly is our fundraising efforts. Certainly we've had an excellent year of fundraising, thanks to some existing partnerships and some new. We were able to generate significant financial growth for our foundation with even more opportunities on the horizon. The foundation foursomes was a great success. As you saw on the screen with the live auction screen, the generosity of our member facilities and our professionals enabled us to auction off 80 items, which raised $15,650. Thanks to everybody who participated, and I hope that you'll support us again this year. Avidia Bank, certainly one of our premier partners, and a great supporter of the NEPGA Foundation. The credit card that Mike spoke about, contributions from us using that credit card have raised $17,500 for the foundation. So Avidia continues to be an unbelievable partner, and that certainly has helped fund a lot of our programs through the foundation. For the foundation was a new fundraising activity brought to us from a longtime partner in Tournament Solutions. As you can see, we raised $5,500 from this initiative. And what it is 10% of purchases made by NEPGA professionals in their facility comes right back to the foundation. So if you're doing some orders for awards, certainly we always want you to consider one of our partners, but just a reminder that that is a nice program they set up for us. On the tournament side, just recently, very exciting, we held our annual foundation pro-am at TPC Boston. So thank you to everybody who participated. We raised over $20,000 this year for the foundation. That's amazing. So especially thanks to TPC Boston for hosting the event and for all of you participating. We have another little fundraising activity that we've dragged Noel in on last night and Secretary Bradshaw and Mike Higgins. Some of us have noticed, meaning the honorary president, that we're not at our fighting weight anymore. So we are having a Biggest Loser competition. Myself and Mike Higgins and Mike Bradshaw and Noel's throwing his hat in the ring. So we're going to weigh in Palm Springs. That's probably not going to go very well for me, but hopefully in April at the spring meeting, we're going to re-weigh in, and whoever has the, just like Biggest Loser, biggest percentage of loss, the other guys, everybody's got to put in $500 for the foundation. So we're trying to get to be able to raise one of those NEPGA grants through kind of fighting our own demons here. So if anybody in the audience wants to get in on it, you're more than welcome. So just a little fun for the officer corps here. So as you can see, the NEPGA Foundation has grown from just a boardroom conversation to certainly something that we're all proud of. I look forward to working on some great things for 2019. Please, if you have any ideas, please reach out to me. Everything's everything's on the table. We're trying to do some great things, and we can't do it without your help. So thanks for your time, and have a great off season.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Rob. At this time, the chair would like to invite up employment consultant to the New England section, Mike Pack.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you to the officers and board for a couple minutes to speak today. Wanted to switch it up a little bit. Obviously, this time of year, I'm fortunate to get in front of so many of you at the chapter level and at the section level, give you a little bit of an update about the department, but wanted to kind of ride the momentum of what the officers here had message-wise about value and passion and talent in the room. The facility relations, well, before I do that, the facility relations chair, Larry Kelly, cannot join us today. Obviously, he and I this time of the year talk quite a bit because of education seminars, club meetings, career wellness visits that we have in conjunction with the effort that Mike Higgins puts forward. We're very active and we're excited to kind of hit the road and see all of you. But I pulled together a little bit of video. And for those of you that were with us on the chapter run, you know, I posed kind of 3 questions. And the first one that I posed at the end of my presentation was, what drives you? What motivates you? What's the most enjoyable thing that you feel the golf industry has to offer? And I'm very fortunate that I get to talk to so many of you and playing careers and just be there for you. But some of these quotes were really moving. And I was trying to figure out the best way to convey that and share. So I pulled together a little video here. responses from the chapter run, and to be able to handpick a few and share those with you. I hope they moved you a little bit. They moved me. Some of the responses were just amazing. So to be able to be that conduit for you to hear your stories and then share them with fellow professionals to help you all shine brighter is very rewarding, very humbling. So that's all I have. I just wanted to remind you as you go into your off season to recharge. Don't forget how impactful you are, what contributions you make to those around you. It's pretty special, and it's very humbling for me to be able to hear those stories. But as the off season goes forward, as the job season changes, if there's anything that I can do to support you, please let me know. Happy to help. Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you. The New England section is very, very fortunate to have the next gentleman as a New England PGA Junior League manager. So at this time, the chair calls Brian Bain to give his PGA Junior League report.
Thank you, Ron, and to the board for a few minutes this morning. Good morning, everybody. So before I get started on the Junior League report, I just want to echo what Robb Jarvis mentioned about the PGA Foundation and what an unbelievable thing it is, an opportunity for all of us in the room. It's going to be 10 years ago I started a veterans program back at the facility I was at, and just last week one of those veterans reached out and called me that he was still playing with one of the gentlemen in the group and one of them got a hole in one. So it is unbelievable, and like Rob said, they're looking for a few more facilities for next year, so it was one of the most rewarding things I've done as a PGA member. So if you're looking for something, reach out to Rob and the PGA Go program. So at PGA Junior League, I just wanted to share up on the board what our mission is and what our core beliefs are. And we believe and strongly believe that every child can be a golfer, and that every one of your facilities can become a hub of the community if it isn't already. And it's something that PGA Junior League can help you achieve if you're not already involved. It was another, as a few people have mentioned, it was another record-breaking year. Across the country, we topped 51,000 players, but not just across the country, here locally it was as well. And you can see up there the numbers of teams across the country, 4,200. In the section, we had 269 teams and 3,400 juniors, boys and girls, took part in PGA Junior League this past year. And it's unbelievable what that relates to and how that can actually help you. So if you took the 3,400 juniors, and the average fee in our section last year was $238. Take out the $75 PGA reach fee, $562,000. Yep, $562,000 got returned to the men and women of the New England PGA section that are already involved with PGA Junior League. So pretty astonishing. Number one in players again for the third year in a row in the country. So we're proud to say, and I personally want to thank Mike Higgins and his staff for the support of PGA Junior League and allowing us to do what we're here to help you do. Our timeline for next season, as you all are starting to wind down, we're just ramping things up with the fall run of meetings, and facility registration is going to open in 3 weeks, 3 short weeks when we're out at Greyhawk in Scottsdale for the national championship. So be on the lookout to receive emails for that. And then player registration, we're moving that up to align better with other youth sports. That's going to start place at the PGA show. We're going to open player registration this year. Once the first of the year rolls around, parents are looking for programs for their children to get involved in. They want to have every hour of every day accounted for. And in golf, we haven't done a great job in that. That's why you see us moving things earlier and earlier. It's there to help them, the consumer, the members at your facility, plan accordingly. So that's going to be, look for that to come about. Next year, we're also starting a national fall league that will support. So this will help keep those juniors engaged with the game through the fall season. It's going to help you at your facility continue to keep them engaged with the additional revenue that they bring to the facility. On your chair, you'll see a handout that I left for everybody. Those are the new refreshed team kits for 2019. So I personally want to thank each and every one of you that are already involved with PGA Junior League to helping the New England section be a leader across the country. To those in the room that aren't involved, we'd love to get a second to chat with you and see how we can make this work. With all the facilities we have in the section, we've had facilities that might not be able to get the right amount of children. So we're partnering you up with another facility to help you create a team. The first year is always the hardest, but remember, a snowman doesn't start without a snowball. So owners and operators are starting to reach out as well. At the beginning of this year, I had a facility that a PGA member left the facility, and they were going through the process with Michael Packard of hiring a new PGA member, but timeline wasn't gonna match up with the PGA Junior League season. They wouldn't have that person on board before the season started, and they wanted to make sure that they could still do PGA Junior League. So owners and operators, this is an important program to help them at facilities. I had another facility that a member does an amazing job down on the South Shore of Massachusetts, and when he goes to his boardrooms, he shared with me now, the owner of the facility doesn't ask him for rounds, anything. The first question always, every month is, how's the PGA Junior League doing? So it is on their radar. I just want you aware of that. If you're not already involved, we'd love to get you involved. So it truly is an honor and privilege to serve. Like I said, we're just ramping up. If you think this could fit at your facility, we'd love a few minutes to chat with you, and I hope you all have a great off season. Thank you.
As I said earlier, we're very fortunate to have Ryan in the section. If you're not involved in PGA Junior League, please do. At this time, we're going to take about a 10 or 15 minute break. Please be back in your seats at, let's say, 20 minutes up.
Everybody get seated again. We're going to get going in a couple minutes. Thank you. If we could everybody take your seats at this time, we'd like to get started right away. Can everybody get to their seats, please? Okay, if we could have everybody take their seats, please. We are going to start the next portion of the meeting. Before we do that, just a reminder on your way out of the meeting, later this morning, there is a representative from the merchandise show, PGA Merchandise Show coming in January. You can pre-register today for the merchandise show so that you can avoid the lines of getting your credentials in Orlando. So take care of that on the way out today if you plan on being in Orlando for the PGA Merchandise Show. At this time, we're going to begin our town hall meeting. We are very excited to have two very special guests in a very special format. New England PGA President Ron Bebo will serve as moderator for a town hall meeting with District 1 Director Noel Gebauer and our Secretary Jim Richardson. Most of us know Noel. Noel is the head golf professional at the Town of Colony Golf Course in Schenectady, New York, and he is our District 1 Director. Noel, welcome and thank you for being here. I would now like to introduce our PGA of Amerika Secretary, Jim Richardson. PGA Secretary Jim Richardson is the Senior Vice President of Operations for Troon. Jim is responsible for helping to oversee and grow Troon's portfolio of managed facilities throughout its related brands, and Troon is the world's largest golf management company with more than 275 golf courses in its portfolio. He was elected secretary at the 2016 PGA annual meeting as a member of the Wisconsin PGA section, when he became the first Wisconsin PGA member to be elected as an officer of the association. A member of the National PGA Board of Directors from 2013 to 2015, serving District 6, Richardson also served on the Wisconsin PGA Section Board of Directors, where he was secretary from 2015 to 2016, was chair of the Wisconsin PGA Education Committee, and was a board member of the Wisconsin State Golf Association. During his term as District 6 Director, Richardson served as chair of the National Properties Committee, as a member of the National Budget and National Investment Committees, and continues as a PGA.com advisory board member. He was recipient of the 2013 and 2016 Wisconsin PGA Golf Professional of the Year Award, and the Section's 2011 Horton Smith Award, and 2012 Bill Strasbourg Award. Previous to his work at Troon, he served as Kohler Company's General Manager and Director of Golf for more than 10 years, overseeing the operations at Whistling Straits and Black Wolf Run in Wisconsin, and the Dukes Course in St. Andrews, Scotland. Richardson was an executive committee member of the 2007 U.S. Senior Open, the 2010 PGA Championship, the 2012 U.S. Women's Open, where he also served as general chair, and the 2015 PGA Championship. Richardson and his wife Christy are parents of a daughter, Mary Claire. Please join me in recognizing Jim Richardson.
Thank you, Al. That's pretty impressive, Jim. Long way to say golf guy. Yeah, exactly. First of all, thank you both of you for being here. This is a great honor for us to have you here at the meeting and answer a few questions that the membership has. I'm going to start out. I got a few questions for you just to go out, and then what we're going to do is open it up to the floor. If anybody has any questions for Jim or Noel or anything on the national level, please raise your hand, state your facility, and what your question is. First of all, we've all heard about the move to Texas, obviously. We know what's going on the officer level, but could you share with the membership, are you able to provide any of us an update on what's going on?
Yeah, I'll give a little bit of history if you're not aware of all the details there as well, too. For those of you that may have never visited headquarters down in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, there's really two buildings. PGA of Amerika owns one building where a lot of the staff is in. There's another building that we actually lease space along with 2 or 3 other businesses. If you've been there in the last few years, those buildings are aging, they're getting older. As we get into new programming, they're really not as functional as we would like a headquarters to be. So we're looking into different options over the last few years, potentially renovating those buildings. Do we also buy the building that we're actually leasing space out of? We potentially build a new building in that general area. So to do it right, we went up to an RFP process to the local community, the county in Palm Beach, as well as a couple other local counties. That then solicited some conversations. If we're really going to do this, we should do a national RFP to see if there's potentially other options out there. I guess surprisingly, in some ways, what we found is we had a lot of major metro markets that actually were very excited about the possibility of maybe bringing the headquarters of the PGA of Amerika to their towns. And so from that, we started a little bit bigger RFP process to get into details. And we actually had about 8 or 10 viable options of cities that really wanted to attract the PGA of Amerika to their states and to their cities. From that, it went down. A lot of due diligence was done from our senior staff at headquarters. The board had several discussions on the national level that Noel and others were involved with. And it really came down to the 2 best options for potentially the project in Frisco, Texas, which is just outside the suburb of Dallas, or staying where we're at in Palm Beach County. And continue to go there. Conversations have continued to advance with the officials in Frisco. It's really kind of a private-public partnership. The town there, if you know much about, if you've ever read, if you're hearing about the potential move, Frisco is one of the largest growing towns and communities in the country. U.S. News and Report and some other magazines just rated it in the last month as the best place in America to move or to live, based on their education system, based on the amount of jobs, all those types of parameters. It's very, very fast growing there. And so there's a lot of possibilities there. It's a central location in the country, really easy for staff to travel to support sections of members. You can get just about anywhere in the country in a direct flight. Because of the public-private kind of partnerships that they've done with some other businesses and associations in that town, unbelievable types of tax breaks to develop new business or new headquarters, things of that nature. So again, it has not been decided. The board has not voted yes that we are doing a move, but we are way down the road of the due diligence with the town of Frisco and the state of Texas, and I would say that there's a very good opportunity that does happen, but it has not been voted on, hasn't been determined yet. One of the options we're also looking at that you may have heard has been shared is the potential to move essentially what you might consider all member-centric functions to Frisco that support sections of members throughout the country. Many of the reasons I kind of just stated, the potential actually for, say, the call center and some other functions maybe to remain in Florida. So looking at a couple different options there and what might happen. Also looking to the future is really 20, 25 years from now, the way that the business and association are developing, what's the best way and the best form for PGA headquarters to really be able to support sections and our members. From a central location, is it from Florida where it's always been? Is it potentially a central location with maybe more kind of satellite offices on the West Coast, Northeast, Southeast, and different areas to better support members? So all of those options are and have been discussed at the board level over the last couple of years and continuing to be discussed now. I would tell you that we're hopeful, and the board has asked senior staff to continue to try to work towards all of the due diligence that's needed for the board to make a decision, and I would think that may happen sometime between now and possibly even the merchandise show in January. It may go longer than that, but I do think there's going to be a final decision, and we'll be at a point where the board will be able to vote on that in the next few months.
Thank you. Question number 2. The PGA of Amerika recently hired Seth Law as the association's new CEO. Why did the board choose Seth? And how can he help accomplish our mission of serving the members and growing?
Ron, I'll take this one, and I'm going to hand it to Jim in a second too, because I'll have some input on this, since he was a little more intimately involved in the hiring process. But I can tell you, as a board member, I've been in that room for 3 years, and all 3 years, Seth Waugh sat on the board as an independent director. And I think and believe that the qualities that made him a phenomenal independent director for us are going to make him a phenomenal CEO for us. Of course, he brings to the table a great track record as a corporate CEO, but I think his trademark leadership style is really going to fit well with PGA of Amerika, with the board, with the officers, and with the staff. As he goes forward, into his role, I think I look back at all the times that he would mentor us as board members, as we, on organizational learning, organizational operations, and have that in a CEO role, it's going to be phenomenal. Personally, the 2 qualities I thought were going to be very difficult to replace as Pete Pavakla left that role were going to be communication. Pete was a great communicator, and also a passion for the game. Because Pete had a tremendous and has a tremendous passion for the game, and Seth really, really checks both of those boxes really strongly. His passion for the game is amazing, to the point where he spent the last 10 or 20 years really embedding himself in the golf industry. You look at not just as an independent director for us, but also sat on many committees and many boards all over the country in the industry of golf. So the Rolodex that he brings to us as a CEO is pretty substantial and going to be very helpful. And coming also off of the board as an independent director, it almost seems like an internal hire. It's almost like a promotion. He knows how we work, so that's going to be very easy for him to make that transition in the onboarding for him. Is much easier than it would be bringing in a CEO from the outset. So, Jim, go ahead.
And I would say, much like we did 6 years ago when Pete Pavakla was hired as the CEO, some of the steps that we're taking is really looking at what are the characteristics that we wanted in a CEO, from leadership, from their experience, passion for the game, being involved in the game. They have both passion for the game and a business sense of the game. Where were some of their relationships and partnerships as it related to the game of golf and some of our existing partners? Did they understand what our PGA members go through and some of the difficulties that the industry faces right now, and what we've seen in employment, in education, and in hiring, and what's going on in the industry with rounds of golf being relatively flat over the last few years and all the things that we're trying to accomplish as an association. When we did that, we worked with a third-party group that helped us hire and find people of Aqua 6 years ago. We were working with that group as well too, with vetting out and listing those characteristics. We're also coming up with a list of people in the industry that we were going to reach out to. We started to obviously have people reach out to us that were interested in the position, and quite frankly, it kept kind of coming back to, we had somebody in the boardroom in Seth that we actually thought really checked up all of those boxes, and we had, as Noel said, seen him in action for 3 years as a board member. He's got an incredible passion for the game. You don't know his background. His son played collegiate golf competitively at Wake Forest. He was heavily involved in kind of his junior career. His son's now trying to play professionally. Seth actually was the CEO of Deutsche Bank, who started the tournament at TPC Boston. And he actually really kind of sold that event to their board of directors that sports marketing and sports sponsorship would be really good for their company and their people. And he said, I kind of convinced them to do this, I better own it. So he became really heavily involved in that tournament, made great relationships with top players, sponsors, media, and others as well too. Really kind of interjected himself in the golf world from that perspective. The other thing I think, obviously, we were, very, very fortunate and lucky to find and hire people of Aqua 6 years ago. And I think he was a very dynamic CEO and leader that we had. And obviously, he had had some other opportunities to lead the PGA in the past and never did. I think that was a positive because the industry was looking at the PGA and some of the leadership saying they got some really good talent and they're doing some good things. And Pete had an incredible opportunity for he and his family to become the president of NBC Sports. Quadruple, probably then some of his compensation, as well as his family all being from the New York area. He was kind of able to move back home and raise his kids there. Seth is at a little bit different point in his career. He's really done everything from a business standpoint, from a personal standpoint. And he really accepted the job because he's passionate about it. And as he said when he accepted the position, I think part of the reason people will think the PGA hired me was my business background, what I might be able to bring to the PGA from a business perspective. He said the reason that I personally took the job is because what I think we can accomplish to help PGA members. He's really got a passion for how he can take his experience and his time that he's been on the board and how he can relate that into potential benefits for our members. Those are some things at the board level and an officer level we're very excited about and trying to help him hopefully accomplish that in the next few years. How can we better grow the game and how can we better serve our members?
Very good. And those of you that haven't seen Seth's resume, take a look. He's a pretty impressive individual. As you know, we're pretty passionate about education in New England. What was the purpose of the recent development change to the new PGA learning strategy and offering 3 different paths, teaching and coaching, golf operations, and executive management?
Really, I think it's much like what you're developing here. You're developing as a section opportunities for members to get their education in different formats, right? Be able to really kind of better their skill sets and offer more to their facilities and their employers. What we've heard really over the years from several PGA members around the country, from Section EDs, and really from the 18 university and college directors that have PGM programs, is part of the challenge we've had in recruiting younger men and women in the business is the education system that we had. We have individuals now that really want to go a teaching path and are very, very passionate about that. We have others that look and say, hey, I want to be a GM or executive of a company because I looked up to somebody when I was coming through the ranks or was a junior, or I had somebody that mentored me that was the CEO of a company or the GM of a club that was a PGA professional. I want to go that route. So offering these 3 different routes that you can go, where you can still do essentially level 1 in the general kind of business of golf and the game of golf. But then you can pick a path if you so choose, either full-time instruction, full-time executive management, or in operations. And we know statistically still the majority of our members are going to elect operations and be, quote unquote, a traditional head golf professional director of golf. We also know we have individuals at every level and every age group that are really, really passionate about just teaching and coaching the game. And they want to take all of their education on that. And they say, why in the world do I need to go learn some of these other things if I'm going to spend my entire career teaching and coaching the game? And the same when we have others that, my goal is really to be a GM or an executive. So we think by going to that route, it gives our members better opportunities. We think it actually really defines to employers and those that are hiring positions truly what different PGA members do, that are the best at teaching and coaching, they're the best at running operations, and they're the best choice for general management and executive positions. We continue to try to push more and more PGA members to what they're passionate about, and I think this gives them an opportunity to do that.
Excellent. It kind of fits right into my next question. You kind of answered it, but I'm just going to ask it anyways. It's becoming increasingly difficult to find and hire quality staff to adequately manage and run golf facilities. What's the association doing to drive the next generation of golf professionals? I think you kind of just explained that, but if you could elaborate that on a little bit and really, continue to succeed in the future.
Yeah, Ron, that's one thing, and then I think, Mike Packard and the work there, the last few years, we've really tried to concentrate and expanded that staff as well, too, to support sections of members around the country. Just a few years ago, the number was 10, 12, now we're at 19 career consultants, and I'm one, at least I hope that number continues to grow. I think the more support we have in the field, the more opportunity they can have to be proactive. Quite frankly, I think when we're at the point, I don't want to put Mike on the spot or speak, but I was a believer that when we were 8, 10, 12, quite frankly, the career consultants had so much on their plate, sometimes it was reactionary. I think the more we have, we can be even more and more proactive. We're really starting to see some of those gains and benefits for our members. Because if we have more people in the field to help support sections and their education systems and employment, and we have more that can help PGA members, let's concentrate on that. We're also really, I think, probably more so than we ever have been, really sitting down and really trying to work and partner with the 18 colleges and universities that have those PGA programs. The numbers of students going into those programs has decreased over the last 4 or 5 years. That is a feeder system, you might say, for the next generation of head golf professionals, directors of instruction, directors of golf, and GMs. But it's also those that want to hire assistants, and especially those that are seasonal facilities. And all of you that hire know increasingly that's become more and more challenging over the last couple of years. So we have really been trying to meet with the 18 university programs and listen to their concerns, and really more try to partner out of that and listen to the PGA members. And we're really having some concentrated efforts to try to help those 18 programs recruit kids. So we're going into the junior ranks. We're going to be using some things with PGA Junior League Golf. We're doing some different level with men's and women's golf programs at the high school and the college level to really try to let them know that there's an opportunity for their sons and daughters to actually go into the golf business. We still fight that a little bit, that the industry thinks that you're just a teacher or you're working in the shop behind the counter. And there's so many different opportunities within the game of golf. And just in this room, the amount of different responsibilities that members of the New England section have, it blankets and mirrors the industry. There's so many different opportunities you have, whether it's running junior golf programs or a national program like an AJGA or one of the national programs that we have, or getting involved in running an association, running a club or clothing company, being involved in championships and tournaments, PR perspective, finance, general manager, executive positions. There's so many different options, but letting these families and parents of boys and girls realize that if their son or daughter is really passionate about playing the game and passionate about the game, there's all these multiple opportunities for them to get involved from a career perspective. And they should take a look at the 18 university programs that we have. So we're much more aggressively going out and working with those 18 schools on recruitment, and we're trying to continue to add resources and expand on a career consultant basis, and hopefully some of those efforts can make some strides to start pushing those numbers up in the future.
Thank you. I'd like to open it up to the floor right now. I have a few more questions, but does anybody have any questions for Jim or Noel in the audience?
It's either to you, to Jim or Noel. When I was on a few years ago, I was a national scholarship chairman for, I think, 3 or 4 years. Obviously, there was a condensing of the committees, which our board voted for and agreed with. Where does the scholarship program sit now? I mean, just a little background if you don't know. There's only only about $300,000 at most that goes in every year, and that's from member donations. We talked to Pete Bavacqua, myself, and Jeff Trimble and stuff. We come up with some ideas, and obviously each time we did, they kind of got shot down by Rome. But it's going to be a diminishing return, and it's really a shame with the amounts of money that we take in. And again, I understand the word enormous and all that, but I mean, is there any focus on that? Is it basically now just computer driven? That's how they were basically chosen anyway. Our committee did not choose the children that got scholarships and stuff, but just where does it stand today?
It's a similar system, obviously, when it talks about how they're chosen because you want to try to take the impartiality out of it.
Right.
Anybody being on a committee and knowing the son or daughter of certain people. But that's one of the things we're looking at. I mean, annulment obviously is this nasty word that's out there that some of us understand and many of us don't because of the legalities of it. And one of the things that the board has asked repeatedly, but really pushed this last year, is we need to really push the needle on annulment as it relates to whether it be member insurance programs, member benefit programs, what we can offer to members directly versus indirectly, what we can to their families and everything else. So we're not the expert in that, or at least I'd say that from the standpoint, nobody on the board. Quite frankly, we don't even have anybody, I think, on our staff, whether it be Rona, who's the CFO in accounting and finance, or in our membership department. So we've really asked and tasked Seth, his new role, go out and find the best people in the industry on annulment, those that are the experts. Let's see what it may cost to have them sit at the table and see where we can really push things. We don't want to really do anything that's going to jeopardize our status, our tax status, because then we would have to go back and essentially pay taxes for the last 100 years. It would, quite frankly, bankrupt the association. But where can we really push the needle? What is truly something we should stay away from, and what is something where we're taking that risk to really push the needle? And scholarships would fall underneath that. So, not saying that that's going to change, but we have asked in the past Seth in his new position as CEO and senior staff to really try to push the needle where we can.
I just have one more aside. I think what we asked for, we never really got through though, was like a hard mailing separately to the membership, maybe even with the Pro PAC or whatever, to ask for people for donations. I understand some of the dues bill, but one of the concerns I brought up was, you know, there are certainly management companies that pay for their members. I'm a municipal employee and very lucky to have myself and my other golf professionals paid, but my municipality will not pay into extra things besides our dues. So I guess even I forget to send money to the membership when I was chairman and so forth. I think it would be worth our while to make a separate hard mailing to all members for the scholarship fund and the disaster relief. I don't think it's that expensive.
Yeah, it's something I'll bring back to make sure we discuss again, so thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, if you could, I'm fortunate enough to serve on the Properties Committee with you, and by the way, you've done an excellent job as chairman of that committee for the last few years. I've been on it prior to your being the chairman, and what you've accomplished, what you've done in the past few years. I think it'd be just good if you could give New Englanders who love Florida in the wintertime just a brief update on what's going on at PGA Golf Club.
Sure, thanks. And again, if you're not aware, Jim has a home down there, spends a lot of time. He's been on the Properties Advisory Committee the last 5 years. Can't thank him enough for his leadership and his role there, not only because of his role as a past president of the association, but really knowing the day-to-day and what's going on in Port St. Lucie. So thanks for that. If you haven't been to Port St. Lucie recently, quite frankly, quick history, 5-6 years ago, the properties were maybe in the worst condition they've ever been in. Service was really substandard. We were not showing ourselves very well, and quite frankly, as an association, we were an absentee owner. It was in bad shape, and we could only point the finger at ourselves. The board and the officers at that time said we need to make this right, make a change. We had promised PGA members a certain level of service and commitment, and quite frankly, we were not living up to it. Hired some new staff members. PGA General Manager Jimmy Terry has been there for the last 5 years, and his staff. Quite frankly, we've made a commitment on the staffing side, on the resources side, and on the capital side. So the golf courses got improved, the equipment got improved, we brought some new people in, we did an expansion and refresh of the clubhouse. We've done some extensive work on the courses, and these last 2 years, this past summer, there was a bunker renovation on the Wanamaker Golf Course. The year prior, there was some extensive work done on drainage and irrigation, and some grassing on the Ryder course. We just hosted the Senior Club Professional Championship this last week. I think, at least from what I've heard, and hopefully you've heard the same from those from the New England section playing in that, golf courses at this time of year maybe never in better condition. So we're really proud of the work that's been going on there and what's been happening. The other portion of that is we did look at the facilities and they were losing money, quite frankly. And the board and many other members said, why are we losing money in our facilities? So there was a concentrated effort not only on the business model and plan, but also did we need essentially 72 holes of golf in the performance center. At that time, it was a decision to divest of what was old St. Lucie West or St. Lucie Country Club that had been rebranded as St. Lucie Trail, and that was sold about a year ago, so that is no longer part of the PGA's portfolio. And we are looking to potentially divest of the Learning Center as well too, and it is officially for sale. With that being said, there is an extreme commitment from the current officer corps and board to always retain and keep the 54-hole PGA Golf Club in our portfolio. It's absolutely no thought, no conversation, no plans divesting of that. It's where the vast majority of our PGA members always practice and play when they go down in the winter. It's where we're hosting all of our winter tournament series events. And quite frankly, it's really what most people equate PGA Golf Club as is the 54-hole complex. I don't think that's ever been in better condition, better service. I think the program that we have around the 54-hole golf course has probably never had better support for the members that utilize it, and that's the current plan moving forward, is continue to put resources and monies into the 54-hole golf club and try to make it as successful as possible, within reason, making sure we're also being fiscally responsible there, and it's a good business model. So that's the plan moving forward there. We also have, as part of properties, the 18-hole golf course in Louisville, Kentucky, Valhalla, which continues to thrive and do very, very well. Again, with President Remy and the PAC's help, we actually redid some of the membership offerings a few years ago. It really, really helped drive some new memberships there on a national basis and kind of younger executive membership. So they're thriving as well too. The clubhouse, if any of you visited, we did a refresh there as well too a couple years ago. And part of that refresh was to really promote PGA members in the different events that we've had there, as well as some of the programming that PGA of America does. So those that are members, those that are guests, truly, really, really know that the PGA is hugely involved from an ownership standpoint, not just hosting a championship there every so often. So we're really proud of what's been going on at both Valhalla and PGA Golf Club. And if, in fact, we do potentially move the headquarters to Frisco, Texas, there would be a golf component as part of that as well too, which we think might be a really, really nice addition to what we have already in our portfolio. So again, Jim, thank you for the comments. I think the PAC's done some really good stuff in helping lead that, and the PGA members now in place at both Valhalla. We have a PGA general manager there, Keith Reese, as well as then a PGA general manager in place, Jimmy Terry at PGA Golf Club. They're both really in a good place, and I think really doing well. Those of you that utilize it, would love to hear your comments this winter. If you've seen improvement, how the service is, course conditions, how the tournaments are run, because quite frankly, because of a lot of the input of members over the last few years, I think it was a long way in making sure that we showed the improvement that we needed to, especially in Port St. Lucie.
Jim, regarding the new career paths and teaching coaching being one of them. Teaching obviously is the lifeblood of all the members, and it's the growth of the game. And it's so important. And we have the teaching and coaching summit down in Florida, which is every 2 years. Very impressive, we get a very impressive list of presenters. But it's also very expensive. When you have 29,000 members, only get 300-400 coming to it. It's a concern, I would think. If we're trying to have our professionals become the best instructors, you want to get them the best instruction. Okay, so it's not a waste, but it could be a lot better as far as member services go. members can't get to it because they can't afford it. Would it be feasible or to have like a mobile teaching coaches summit with all these game presenters that you have down there that go to different portions of the country? The members can get to it. They get to it with a make it accessible and affordable. I mean, it's personal interaction is the most important. We can't keep doing things over the internet. I don't think, personal interaction, because you want to be the best you can be, especially the teaching coaching.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, and I'll let Noel and Dave Ron weigh in as well too. There's 3 or 4 components to that really. Try not to be too long-winded on the answer. There is a NEPGA, so essentially when you offer certain education, members essentially have to kind of pay for the fair, equitable value of it. So we do always have to consider that. We are looking at ways on the national one to try to bring those costs down, specifically looking at allowing teachers to basically bring amateur students with them and defer some of the costs. That way where a club can pay for it, individuals or clubs board, they wanted to go down and talk about the instructional programs and things of that nature. The mobile aspect has kind of been talked about. The biggest challenge there is when you're talking to named people, I mean, they've got businesses to run as well too, and their livelihoods that they need to make money, so if they're constantly doing it around the country on behalf of the PGA, what's happening with their businesses, they need to be compensated in some way. A lot of them donate their time for the one event down in Florida, or drastically reduce their expenses to be able to do that. But that's why sections, and we try to promote it and work with the education departments to have their own teaching and coaching summits, each section of district as well too. We are looking at options of, do you have it more than just down in Orlando? Could you have another regional? You look at it in different aspects. So the teaching and coaching committee that runs that is looking at a lot of different options. The costing is always a challenge though because of the inherent loss. Essentially members have to pay some type of equal, compensation for the value that they're getting. So that's something I'm not sure if we'll ever get over, but we're looking into and looking at other options and how you kind of expand on teaching and coaching. Because you're right, we absolutely are committed. That's the lifeblood of growth of the game. We are the ones that have that tangible connection. Everybody that's trying to learn the game. So we are the ones teaching, bringing people in through all the different player development programs. So teaching and coaching is so important, not only today, but for the future growth of the association, no question.
We through the efforts of our secretary and the education committee, Jim, we have a local one that's coming up.
Right, that's all that. Yes, New England PGA has done a wonderful job in promoting education to the members. I was just thinking from a national level, they have a lot of resources. Can it be better? Because they get a lot more high-profile names.
We got some pretty high-profile names coming to ours, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen it.
Just one quick comment. I was education chairman with Mark Larrabee and Bill Saffron 25 years ago. There was an electronic book where they helped offset the cost. Maybe that's something we, or dollars or something, could look into, is coming up with a national sponsor, i.e. one of the club companies or whatever. And that was a great resource to bring in high-paid people for very little money and so forth. No disrespect to the ones that are on board, but it had specialty people of all different types that you can choose from. And obviously it was, at their availability. Other such sections and parts of the country were looking at the same thing, but it was very well received. Kind of went away when Tom moved away.
Okay. Perfect. Steve?
Thanks, Ron. A couple of questions, and this is as it pertains to our members here in the Midland section. One observation is over the past 10 years or so, and more recently 2 years ago, I know the committee's downsized, but as it pertains to New England PGA members, there's been fewer members on national committees, and so to those in the audience, if they wanted to do that, want to be on a committee, what do they need to do? And then the second question would be, as it pertains to the Hall of Fame. And I believe that we have, this is the National Hall of Fame, not the New England PGA Hall of Fame, but I believe that we have 3 members in the National Hall of Fame. And so what's the process of getting in the Hall of Fame? And what can our section and our section leaders do, if anything, to better promote our past members, those that are deceased, and then those that are currently alive to be considered for the Hall of Fame.
Jim, I'll give this to you because you're going to be filling the committees as you become president.
Yeah, I think, there's been great representation, right, Steve? I mean, you're on the membership committee now, and Jim Remy's on the PAC committee, Donnie's been on committees before as well too. Jack Gale is on the board of control, so I would argue a little bit, I think you've got some pretty good representation right now in those positions, because those are some pretty strong committees, membership, PAC and all the changes, and obviously board of control touches the lives of so many different PGA members. But you've got a lot of great talent in this section. You've got a lot of people that are really passionate, especially at the board meeting last night, a lot of discussion about education and employment and what the foundation is doing. And quite frankly, it's not my opinion, just look statistically, you're some of the leaders in the country, in the association in those areas. So sure, we're always looking for the committee structure, as you may or may not know, a lot of that has to do with the city president, naming those committees or committee chairs. So, in that regard, a lot of it is interaction with the officer corps and the individuals that are going to be in those seats in the future. We had some of those discussions last night, even today. Your leaders are very passionate about that and very passionate about representing the members of New England. And they definitely were heard last night, this morning, at the break. They're very passionate about it, and quite frankly, you should be proud of that. They're really pushing the programs that your section have done and the success that a lot of the members here have had and how they want to try to be part of that and share that on a national level. So from a Hall of Fame perspective, we do have a Hall of Fame committee. We have a couple of past presidents that sit on that and some others. So there is a process of how they kind of go about picking it. But at the same time, much like kind of national award winners, there are sections that then reach out as well too, that say, hey, we think this individual from our section should be considered for the National Hall of Fame. Have you looked into the career of XYZ person and look at all the things that we've done? So some go out and are very aggressive about promoting certain individuals and the careers and the history, what they've done in the game of golf and the association from those sections, and others is coming both ways. So that's more of a two-way street. It's not necessarily a formalized process in that regard, but my recommendation would be is if you're really interested in trying to get more people in or considered, is get on an aggressive campaign to make sure that those on that committee and the officer corps are aware of some of those individuals that should be considered. I think Steve's asking for himself to be considered.
No, I'm not.
I'll nominate you, Steve. You're in.
Follow up on that question we're making. Is the plan to have the Hall of Fame doesn't exist as we speak today, other than in theory, because it's, the museum was closed. So is that a plan to have that reappear in Frisco or Long Beach? Or
Yeah, great point, and there's a lot of discussion on that. It should be somewhere that people can see it, feel it, touch it, really be able to learn about those members that helped really grow our association. So there's a lot of discussion on where that should reside. There isn't an answer on that yet. It does tie into all the moving parts with potentially headquarters, things of that nature. So I'm very, very hopeful that that's going to have a home here shortly and be someplace that our members can be proud of.
I have one more question, gentlemen, and then we'll conclude the fireside chat. The PGA announced last year the move of the PGA Championship from August to May. This will obviously eliminate many northern states, including New England, from possibly hosting the event in the future. Why was the decision made, and how does this benefit the PGA of Amerika and our members?
Yeah, it was really a long process. So if you remember a couple years ago, golf finally came back in the Olympics. And when that happened, in order to accommodate that in the schedule, PGA Championship was moved a couple weeks earlier. It was really condensed and almost butted up with the Open Championship. And it did create a little bit of challenge for some of the top players in their schedule and how they worked it around. So at that time, the PGA looked at, does it make the most sense if we're going to be affected every 4 years? We potentially try to move it a couple weeks and have a different slot on the calendar. Do we potentially move it to a different month? Because the history of the PGA Championship, it's been played, don't quote me, but I think it's been played in 5 different months on the calendar over its history. So we don't necessarily have that history of it always being played in that particular month. So we started to look at it from that perspective. And then obviously, I think everybody's aware now, the tour really wanted to move their tour championship and that series earlier. In September, they compete directly with college and pro football, and nobody wins against college and pro football. So from a sponsor's perspective, scheduling perspective, TV perspective, that was becoming a big challenge for the tour. They were going to move their tour championship in the month of August, irregardless of if the PGA Championship stayed in August or not. So that was part of the discussions as well too. How's that going to affect the scheduling? How's the Olympics going to affect the scheduling? How's the overriding? What's best for the game? What's best for our members? And then obviously the tour members as well too. So in those discussions, it got to the tour was willing to move their tour championship from May back to March. It left May open and a slot that we could have potentially if we were interested. And when we looked at it from several different perspectives. But having the majority of our members be in areas of the country where their season is basically kicking off in April, May, and June, really be in the high season through the summer months, we try to utilize a lot of our championships and that TV exposure and TV partners to promote some of the things we're doing, whether it's PGA Junior League Golf, Drive, Chip, and Putt, other programs that we might have, what our foundation is doing. We're doing that in the middle of July through August. A lot of the country's starting to get out of their season. So it gave us an opportunity to really promote our members, some of the things we're doing as an association as we're getting into golf season. We also thought, you look at statistically the viewership of watching different championships, it's probably no surprise to anyone in the room, the Masters always garners the highest ratings. PGA Championship the last 3 years has garnered the second highest ratings. We also thought that kind of draft off of all the excitement of people in the golf season. I know I grew up as a kid that way. You hear from a lot of individuals, kind of feel the golf season starts when they start seeing the Masters commercials. They know that that's coming up and the season's about to hit. We also know the top players really prep for those events. And prepping early in the season when typically everybody's at their peak performance, they're gearing up for the Masters and championship season, was a really good fit as well too. I also think there's a really good sequence from the standpoint of April being the Masters, PGA Championship in May, US Open June, Open Championship July. You move the Tour Championship events to August. There's also now a break for the Ryder Cup, which we've heard continually from some of our players, excuses sometimes about being too tired, worn out because they played in 4 or 5 or 6 events weeks in a row. They really wanted to try to have a break before the Ryder Cup if they could, to spend more time as a team, really kind of focus on that event. So all those kind of reasons were coming into play. Does it affect some of the locations? Sure, absolutely it does. We also think it gives us an opportunity though. For instance, the New York market obviously is a huge corporate market and it's a big TV market. And our first event in May is going to Bethpage Black on Long Island. So we do think, weather conditions are going to be okay. We're going to have some years in May with some locations where it's going to be chilly, absolutely. But if you look at the history of the PGA in August, the last 10 years, 7 out of 10 of the PGA Championships have had a weather delay. Typically because of the hot, humid weather, we get the showers, and so that causes challenges as well too. Personally speaking, I wasn't the sole voice on this, but I'd rather have players have a layer or two, and we don't have any delays in the action and the operations of the event versus having hotter weather being delayed. It caused a lot of challenges with the August date in a lot of the locations because of the heat and humidity. Also causes challenges with course conditions when you talk with superintendents. August, for a lot of the country, is pretty tough to put on that type of championship. When you're putting that type of stress on the golf course with having, 30, 40,000 people a day tromping around the course, all the traffic that you have, but also trying to really get the heights and firmness of fairways, approaches, and greens for a 10-day time period puts a lot of stress on the golf course. And then typically that stress is turned over to the membership of that club or to the paying guests that are playing there the coming weeks and months afterwards. So will May be a challenge in some locations? Yes. We don't, quite frankly, think it's any more of a challenge than it has been in August in certain locations. Also gives us an opportunity to open up some markets that we've never been to before or haven't been to in quite a while. So obviously it opens up more of the western region, some big markets. It opens up Texas, it opens up Florida, potentially have events again. So also opens up some new areas that we've never been to before, we think, which gives us an opportunity to really spread that out with the PGA of Amerika, with the PGA PGA professionals do to different areas of the country that we haven't been to before.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. This was very, 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 very informational for everybody. And just before, yeah, of course.
I would just like to say that throughout my career, I've made some great friendships and had people that have really helped and mentored me. And some of those are sitting in the room. So I can't thank enough some of the people that have had real positive impact on my career. You know, from Jack Gale and his influence on the Board of Control, really kind of shepherding that on a couple of occasions. But Jim Remy has been a great mentor throughout my time on the board and now as an officer. I know, Donnie Lyons and Steve Napoli and others. So your section is very well thought of and has had a big influence on a lot of different people in leadership positions, myself included. Just wanted to thank you and your members for that and for inviting me to be here this Monday to spend a little time with the members and the officers of the board of the section. So thank you.
Thank you.
Pretty exciting stuff. These guys are doing a great job. So again, thank you so much, Chairman. Now for our tournament report. The chair now calls on NEPGA Tournament Director Max Doctoroff to give the tournament report. Max?
All right, hello everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. It's nice to see everybody for maybe the last time this season before the spring, so I really do appreciate you coming out. Okay, so I'm just going to take a few minutes here to go over some of the most notable happenings from the last season and also give a quick preview of some notable things that will be coming up for the next year. I'll start with the tournament committee. First of all, I need to thank all of these people for all of their unwavering support to me in my 2 years here at the section. Anytime I've needed any kind of guidance or anything else from them, I can reach out. They always get back to me, and they're always there to support me, and I appreciate that very much. And I do need to thank them and to remind everybody here that these people all volunteer their time to do this. They don't get paid. And they represent you and me and every other New England PGA professional who, at least the ones who play in tournaments, and you know how busy a golf professional schedule can be. So I do need to thank them for giving us their time and their efforts and helping us out with the tournament program year in and year out. All right, so I do need to say another group of thank yous to all of the golf professionals and the facilities who host our tournaments each year. One of the most difficult and challenging part of our jobs at the section is finding some of the best places for you all to come out and play in tournaments. I know that so many of you enjoy tournament golf very much, and we literally could not do it without the generosity and the cooperation of the host clubs each year. So I can't obviously name everybody who hosted us, but I'll give a few quick shout outs to those who hosted our major championships. So John Del Bonos and Matt Walsh from Quinnesset and Warwick respectively hosted the section championship. Jim Remy is here in the room. Thank you so much for hosting the senior championship last year. And Red Bishop from right here at Renaissance hosted the Assistants Championship. And being here at Renaissance, I do need to give a special thank you to them for their flexibility. We had a tough weather situation here last year where the second round of the tournament got rained out, and we needed to run a playoff at an undetermined time after the time that we were scheduled to be here. And they said, anything you need, we'll make it work, no matter what. And that was just unbelievable. So thank you so much to everybody here at Renaissance. Well done, so well. I do need to acknowledge the tournament partners. We've got everybody up there on the list. One favor I have to ask of all of you, especially tournament players here, is if you play in a tournament, we always send out an email following the tournament with the contact information for the sales reps and the owners and any other relevant people from our tournament sponsors. please open that up and take 30 seconds to write an email to those people. They support us, you know, and what all they want in return is to be noticed by you and to have your attention. So if you could cooperate with us and letting them know that, yes, we are paying attention to you and we appreciate what you're doing, they'll keep coming back and we'll keep on having good purses and good tournaments, and we really do need your help with that. So I appreciate anything you can do with helping out with our sponsorship relationships. Okay, so we had a great year of major championships last year. One of the best parts of my job is I get the chance to have a front row seat for some super exciting golf competitions, especially as they come down the stretch. I really enjoy watching you guys play and compete, and it's super entertaining and at times better than watching the PGA Tour on TV. It's just the best. So I will thank a few people and acknowledge just our highest major winners here. Rich Barbarian won the section championship. Kirk Hannafeld won the senior championship. Bob Brusso won the assistants championship. Our season-long Avidia Cup championship was Liam Friedman. And our Omega Logan Player of the Year was Sean Warren this year. So congratulations to all of them. There was some really nice playing from them all. All right, this is kind of an exciting one. For the first time, in at least since before my time, I think it's been a while, we've got somebody who actually cashed in on the hole-in-one pool. John Pisani made an ace on hole number 2 at the Stroke Play Series this year at Granite Links. So he'll be taking home $24,000. So good for John. Make sure you congratulate him if you see him though. He's a nice guy and he deserves it. So it's great to see that happen. And I also have one more hole-in-one pool acknowledgement here. Brendan Ray's in here somewhere, but he won the Assistants Association hole-in-one pool this year as well. He made an ace at the Spring Championship at the Valley Country Club. So nice job, Team Brandon. All right, so next year, we are lucky enough to have our section championship scheduled at the beginning of August at Manchester Country Club and Concord Country Club, both in New Hampshire. We had a Stroke Play Series event here in Manchester, at Manchester this year, which sort of a little preview of how our biggest championship next year is going to go, and it most definitely proved that it's going to be a fantastic test of the abilities of all of our best players, and I think next year's event's going to be fantastic. We're looking forward to getting over to Concord as well. We've got some TBDs here, though, for the Senior Championship and the Assistants Championship. These are both 2-day, 36-hole events, which, as you may be able to imagine, as an added challenge, it's much more difficult to find host sites for these events than it is for our standard one-day events. Our footprint is a little bigger at these multi-day events. So if you do happen to think that you may have an opportunity or interest from your membership or ownership to host one of these major championships next year, I'd love to talk a little bit more about it. You all know how to get in touch with me. All my contact info is on NEPGA.com. But I would love to talk to you about it, and hopefully we can get to one of your places in the next year or so. And on a similar subject, we've touched on this a little bit so far in the meeting here, but due to the movement of a few of the national PGA professional championships, we've had to reshuffle our own tournament schedule just to make sure that our qualifying players can get into the national spotlight. And so we've had some changes. The Pro match play is going to have to move. Still undetermined if it's going to stay at LeBaron Hills or not. We would love to, but their maintenance schedule may be prohibitive there, so we'll see what happens. And the New England Open as well may have to move dates. So we're still kind of in flux with those. We're trying to sort that out, but we will keep you posted. Check in on the website every once in a while and see what we've got confirmed as we go. Okay, the last thing I'll touch on, I'm sure all of you have heard all the murmurings about the new rules of golf that are going to come into effect in the new year. I know that a lot of you have spent a lot of time staring at the old rule book, much like I have, and are pretty comfortable with those, and it's a little bit daunting to sort of just change the way you look at the rules. So I would encourage you very much to get to a USGA PGA Rules of Golf workshop. I was lucky enough to get to the one in Hartford last week, and it was, I can't even tell you how much it helped me. You know, I think the one piece of advice I would give you is, we've got this list of 20 most notable changes to the new rules. I wouldn't try to just memorize all these things, these specific things, and think you're good. You're going to have to go into it as a whole. If you can't get to a rules workshop, we're going to be putting together something in the spring that's just for New England PGA professionals, so try to get to that. If you're unable to attend any, give me a call. I'm pretty well versed in the rules of golf, including the new ones. If you just need help understanding anything at all, if you need help studying for the USGA rules test, I may be the only one in this room who's taken it so far, so I got some hints and tips for you if you need, and I'm happy to help. I love talking about the rules of golf at any opportunity, so please don't hesitate to give me a call about that, and I'll be happy to help you out in any way I can. And I believe that's all I've got for you. Thank you all so very much.
Thank you, Max. We're going to change up the agenda just a little bit. As you're all aware, we have a resolution that's been submitted to be discussed and voted on here today. At this time, I call on NEPGA Secretary Mike Bradshaw to come up and serve as the moderator for the resolution.
Okay, good morning everybody once again. Before I get into the script here, these two resolutions were distributed to everybody via the meeting packet that went out in email form last week, as well as there were copies available at registration when you signed in this morning. The Massachusetts chapter of the New England section has proposed two resolutions to the bylaws of the New England section Constitution. As a point of information, the chapters may amend the Constitution and bylaws of the section in the following manner. A, the chapters may propose in draft form amendments to the bylaws by resolutions submitted by August 1st prior to the annual meeting. The proposed resolutions shall be harmonized and then submitted to the chapters in final form no later than 30 days prior to the annual meeting. And C, the proposed amendments may be amended by a majority and then may be adopted by a 2/3 majority of those voting at the annual meeting. This means a 2/3 vote of the 101 members in attendance, so 68 members here today will be required for the resolutions to pass. For each resolution, we will attempt to conduct a hand vote. If it is too close to call, we will go to a paper ballot. All right, resolution number 1. This resolution is to remove nominations from the floor at the section annual meeting. This is proposed to the section board of directors as a follow-up to the bylaw change in 2015, which allows voting at the chapter annual meetings, in addition to the section annual meeting for section officers. The feeling is that all section members currently have a voice in this election, since being allowed to vote at the chapter meeting, and a PGA professional running from the floor at the section annual meeting would be taking away that voice of the chapter members, section members, excuse me. As you can see on the monitors, section 4 subset B is the current wording, which is on there now, of our Constitution and bylaws. I guess I can read it, right? Do I have to read it? No, I have to read it. Okay, good. Rip that page out. You can read it? Okay, good. All right. The proposed resolution, the changes on the bottom, I will read the proposed, the change. No floor nominations will be allowed. If there are 2 nominees, each nominee will be given 5 minutes to address the meeting prior to the election, annual meeting, and the chapter annual meetings. Now for discussion of the resolution, a motion and second is required for discussion. The chair now asks for a motion to discuss resolution number 1.
So moved.
Thank you. Can I get a second for the motion? Mr. Remy? As a reminder, basic Robert Rules of Order are in effect. When you wish to speak, you must be recognized by the chair, then proceed to the microphone, which I guess I have, and identify yourself and your facility. Each person will have a maximum of 2 opportunities to address the membership with a 3-minute time limit each time. Would anybody like to come up or contribute to the discussion for resolution number 1? shot. No? Okay. Can I get a motion to close discussion? Resolution number 1. Second. Discussion is now closed. Now I need a motion to call resolution number 1 to a vote, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Ron. Is there a second to call resolution number 1 to a vote? Jimmy, all in favor, if you could please show you're in favor of resolution number 1 by a show of hands. No? Good? Okay. All opposed? Resolution 1 passes. Resolution number 2 is to remove the 3 geographical sections of the Massachusetts chapter. As I am definitely not reading this one. As you can see on the screen, the current reading of section 2 of the bylaws of district directors states that there will be 3 district directors representing the Mass chapter. One coming from central, one coming from southern, and one coming from eastern districts, and the specific district boundaries are defined below. The proposed resolution, the Massachusetts chapter will still have 3 district directors representing the Mass chapter, but there will no longer be boundary requirements, and that has been added in the red, and then at the bottom you'll notice the boundary definitions have been removed. This was proposed to the section board of directors by the Massachusetts chapter to remove this requirement from each of the 3 districts and simply create 1 district. The Massachusetts chapter will still have 3 representatives sit on the section board of directors as a district director from the Massachusetts chapter. The 3 districts do not have an equal population, currently have an equal population of PGA professionals, and some regions have more PGA members than others. It has become a challenge each election cycle to find chapter leaders from each district within the Massachusetts chapter, and this will allow the chapter to be well represented and create future leaders. We'd like to open, I need a motion to open up resolution number 2 for discussion.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second to open up resolution number 2. Thank you. Would anybody like to contribute to the discussion on resolution number 2? Aye.
I would just speak for a second, not saying that I'm right or wrong, but probably in the mid to late 80s, the Southern Mass chapter was developed. And I think territorial and rights are hard to give up, I think. To have equal representation, you may not, from the areas. And I hear what you're saying about it's hard to find volunteers. It's hard to find volunteers for committees, section leadership, national leadership, whatever. But I mean, I would like to hear from people in those other areas too. I mean, I now am in Eastern Mass. Obviously, I believe we probably have the largest amount of professionals of any part of the whole section, let alone the Massachusetts, state of Massachusetts. But I would hate to see the group that fought hard for that Southern Mass chapter to be developed, Andy Fry, Jack Neville, not Tom Dacre, but Charlie Manzevic, Kurt, you know, a lot of those guys aren't here anymore. You know, Jimmy's here, he may not even be in that area now with the divide, but I'd just like to hear from other people what their thoughts are.
Thanks, Ron. I understand what you're saying, Mike, but Massachusetts chapter is saying that if you're having trouble getting representatives from the west of the central Mass, and they all come from eastern Mass, then their views are going to be slanted. I mean, they don't know what's going on in western Mass or central Mass, and how do they know the feelings of the people out there and what they really want once they get out there and see? You know, I think it's a little bit dangerous because now you've kind of taken their voice away.
If I'm not mistaken, the idea actually originated with the Central Mass chapter, which is the smallest. And I'll let Alan's part of that chapter. Michael, what is I think there's 19 members? Less than 20 members of the Central Massachusetts chapter right now.
So when the whole chapter plan came to fruition in the Massachusetts chapter, the idea was to maintain 3 distinct geographic areas, central, southern, and eastern. And over the years, and I'm from Central Mass, so we are the ones that we have a hard time. We just don't. And I hear what you're saying, but I would say that, you know, having been in the boardroom for a few years, that the Mass chapter, whether it's eastern, southern, or central, we work together. I mean, I really don't foresee that being an issue. I mean, you know, Lou and Scott and John Fields, and in the past with the other representation, we all talk to each other, and we're trying to do what's best for the Mass chapter as a whole. But we have over 400 members total, of which less than 20 from Central Mass. So when it comes up every 3 years that we're supposed to insert somebody from Central Mass, a lot of times it becomes very difficult. And that's the reason for doing this. I personally don't feel as though anybody is going to lose any representation. I just think we're going to have a larger pool of talented professionals of which we can pick.
As long as Central Mass is comfortable with it, it's fine, you know, it's just.
We have no choice.
Yeah, right.
We've had some individuals that have expressed interest in being part of the board, and they can't join the board because their district is not up yet. So.
I just have a couple things to say. You know, everybody in this room knows I'm a diehard chapter guy. You know, I mean, I live for my chapter. It's the greatest thing about the PGA of Amerika, the chapter. But I got some confusion with this because nowhere in the PGA of Amerika do we give more votes to one area. In other words, no matter how large a district is in the PGA of Amerika, they have one district director, they have one vote on the board. No matter how large a section is or how small a section is, i.e. Northeastern New York versus Carolinas, they have 2 votes at the annual meeting. And now you're in a situation where you're saying we're going to give one geographical area, which is now Mass chapter, 3 votes. And it just doesn't seem to make sense to me personally. They either have to have 1 vote as a geographical area, or they have to stay as their separate chapters and have 3 votes. But they can't have 3 votes from one geographical area. And nowhere in the PGA of Amerika do we do that. So this, I think, would be stepping out, and I would prefer to see it either stay the way it is, or go to where the Mass chapter has 1 vote. Sorry, Mass guys. Sorry about that.
I know when we created this chapter, there was a lot of talk about how we're going to bring it up. And this is what was decided, is we didn't want the Eastern Mass people to have all the control, try to spread it around. This is the way that we decided to do it. This is back in the 80s, like Donnie said. And everybody seemed to be happy with it. All these years, and all of a sudden, there's a problem. And if somebody couldn't find an officer, what was said to me, just pass it on. Just, you know, you're supposed to rotate every election. If you couldn't find somebody to speak for you, just pass it on to the next area, which would be Eastern Mass or Southern Mass or whatever. But I don't see a problem. I think we're creating a problem.
Can I interject for 1 second? And Jack, I will never disagree with anything you say, you know that. The issue at hand, real time, right now, in October of 2018, is, as Alan mentioned, the Central Mass District. Now remember, these are 3 districts that flow inside of a chapter. So as you mentioned, Mass chapter, as it exists right now, does get 3 votes already, because they have 3 districts within their chapter. This is just combining those districts, basically combining those districts so there are no geographical borders. And the issue is that Central Massachusetts district, which the PGA professional population is so low, this was their year, right? Yeah, Mark, this is their year. And it was difficult to find somebody to serve on the section board from that district, because that population is so low. I completely understand what the gentleman in the front of the room, I understand what you're saying. The 3 vote thing was way before me, Jimmy. I was probably in elementary school when I put it or something, so I can't do anything about that. But as it sits right now, it's really difficult. And the other side of it is, if you have somebody from Eastern Mass who wants to come in 2018, say they wanted to, as it sits right now, because of the way they rotate, they could not. they would have to wait until 19 or 20 to take over. So the thought process when it came to the board over the summer was if we have somebody who resides within the chapter, the Massachusetts chapter as a whole, and they want to serve, and they're passionate about serving, why are we going to tell them they can't serve because you're on the wrong side of 495, when it is still one chapter? I'm done.
Oh, I understand totally that, and it's, my preference would be to have them be a chapter and have one vote. But I will also add this, as it came to me just as I sat back down, where I am my senior hat. I think we have a large percentage of this section are 50 and over, we're seniors. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure the exact number, maybe Mike can add that, but I bet you it's 40% of our membership is seniors. It's high, Dave was telling me it's higher, and yet what we're saying is that we're gonna give 3 votes to the Mass chapter, but 40 to 50% of our members are seniors, and we have 1 vote.
But they were also already
And we have a large, we have a huge geographical area, and we have 1 vote. So, I mean.
But they're part of another chapter also. Like you're a senior.
I'm not saying we should have more votes. I'm fine with 1, but I don't think anybody else should have 3. That's the point.
I don't know of the technicality. I understand what you're saying with the 1 vote. I've always wondered why Massachusetts got 3-2 on my personal level, coming from Rhode Island, the smallest chapter. It's always kind of been, hey, we have 1, they have 3. It was done before me. And I don't think at this point we can feasibly change it because we do have sitting directors at this point we already have 2 sitting directors from Massachusetts that terms don't expire until next year and the year after.
So maybe it's something you phase out over a period of time. You don't have to do it immediately. You could let them serve their terms and then phase it out as those work their way out.
Jim, I hear what you're saying. And I'm old enough to remember how it all started. And Central Mass is the problem child because we just don't have enough bodies. When we had the Central Mass chapter, there was little or no activity, so it didn't make any sense to keep going forward. And this probably goes back to, Jack Dale was the one that we kind of initiated this back in the chapters back in the early 2000s. And Eastern Mass, which has the highest number demographically, didn't want to give up the vote. And that's why we're here today. And I hear what you're saying. I think it warrants discussion going further. We're trying to solve 1 problem today. Maybe we need to fix 2 more down the road.
This could, and this is just my opinion again, this could be a step 2 to what you're saying. We get rid of, we obviously cannot change it to 1 vote now, we can't, because we have sitting directors. But we could begin this as phase 1 if it's something we decide we want to do, and then kind of phase them out as their terms expire.
Donnie, I just have 1 point. I don't think I'm good. Just a point. When they started, and I would agree with your terminology, they were all chapters though. And they were done for representation, especially when Southern Mass was initiated, because there was just 1 vote from, I don't even know what you call it, or chapterization or whatever, but basically there was just a seat. It was probably from the 128 area, so the guys from Southern Mass and then the guys along from Central Mass and so forth, then it became more of the chapter plan. And now we're calling it a district, which I got no problem with the terminology, but I think it goes back to the reason they had votes were because we were all chapters.
Correct. So let's go to that, on that principle, because I'm obviously a main chapter member, and all I heard from the time I was an apprentice, and I've said this before in front of all of you, was it's all Massachusetts, 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 the section's all about Massachusetts. And I've been, I don't know, 5, 6 years, never have I seen that. Never have I seen that. I've thought all the directors and chapter leaders that I've served with, I've never heard one of them say, have an axe to grind for Eastern Mass, Central Mass, wherever in Massachusetts. So I think maybe, I don't know what happened 30 years ago, when you created borders, if you had arguments over where the spring meeting was going to be or where an education seminar was going to be. We just don't have that. We don't have that anymore. And that's not to say it was wrong back then, it's just, we don't have it. We're a unified board. I don't think we've had any vote where geography has come down to, a decision where certain directors overpowered the rest of the board. It just doesn't happen. Everybody in the boardroom is for the best for the section member. That's why we rotate as many things around as we can. And remember, this was the Mass Chapter leadership put this forward. So this is, as Alan said, this is something that they kind of want and kind of need. So I just don't think, to the principle of 3 votes, 1 vote, I see where you're coming from, Jim. I just don't know that it's really going to matter in the long run.
Jack?
First of all, it's also Cape Cod chapter, so Mass has 4 votes actually, and that's beside the point here. Did the board look at moving the borders at all, so the Mass 3 chapters could change their borders a little bit to even things out?
No, we did not. Honestly, no.
Jimmy? Going back, what happened was back in the late 90s, Massachusetts, Eastern Massachusetts, wasn't a chapter. It was just Eastern Mass, okay? And then we were going to the chapter plan, I remember this, and each chapter was going to have, they're going to be independent and autonomous. So we created the Eastern Mass chapter with borders then, so we would be a chapter, okay? That was, I think, 1999. That's how Eastern Mass became a chapter. It's a defined chapter like the rest of them. And it was all out of concern about the chapter plan. And that's how it came about. But there was no intention other than just to be able to control Eastern Mass's activities, and not have it combined with other chapters.
Thank you, President. I was at my name is Jim O'Leary. I was at the Central Mass chapter meeting last week. We just nominated a rock star, Mr. Aldridge, Mark Aldridge from Worcester Country Club, for a 3-year term. So at this time, I don't know what the rush is to get this thing done. It's already in the books for 3 more years. Rockstar might want it for another 3?
Well, Mr. O'Leary, it's actually for 1, because then you're going to rotate to another district next year. I don't even know who's, I'd have to, off the top of my head. You rotate to another portion of the Mass chapter, another district next year, and another.
Anyways, we've surprised everybody with this. I don't know what the rush is for today. We could go on with, let everybody put this in there. Food for thought, and talk about it in another year, whenever that time is that Mr. Aldridge is maybe thinking of being replaced, whatever.
Well,
thank you.
As I said, next year we have to replace another member from the Massachusetts chapter. Southern Mass comes up. The way the 3 Massachusetts districts within the Mass chapter are now organized, 1 person rolls off the board of directors every year. So this year happened to be Central Mass's year where their representative rolled off of the board and Mark Aldridge comes in. Next year will be, so 2019 is the year for Southern Mass District to roll out. Is that John Fields? Yeah. And then 2020 will be the Eastern Mass. So it is a constant, every year there's somebody rolling off. So I appreciate what you're saying, but it is something that happens every year. We don't have, we have to rip the Band-Aid at some point, I think is probably the way to put it. If it's either going to be done or not done, because it's going to be a problem every year. It just rotates geographically where the problem is. The other thing to remember is that the district, you still have your district representation within your chapter level as well. So they still are involved heavily at the chapter level, as far as it's concerned. But
you answered my question, so I don't have anything to say.
Well, the pressure. Mr. Remy?
I can tell you from my experience, the toughest thing to do in PGA Bear is to come up with a big governance plan.
Yeah.
All right? I've been through it, and I'll give you 20 seconds of history here. I spent 6 months at the direction of President Roger Warren to come up with a new governance plan for the PGA of Amerika back years ago, 8 years ago. I spent 6 months with a committee trying to come up with this plan. I came up with a sound plan. Unfortunately, there were sections that were going to disappear. Unfortunately, there were districts that were going to change. I presented it to the board. It took 2 hours to present this plan to the board of directors. They voted it down in 30 seconds. I spent 6 months getting ready for this, and they voted it down because re-governance is a difficult issue. And you need to take a long time to make sure that you come up with a plan on exactly how to achieve what you're trying to do. And with all due respect, I think that this plan is not ready. And I think you should consider withdrawing this resolution and going back to work on it and putting some people together that, you know, from outside maybe, that have some experience in re-governance issues. Because there are some issues with this plan. And, you know, like I am, I'm a chapter guy. I mean, it means so much to me. And I just want to make sure it's done correctly. I'm not saying, you know, you didn't put a lot of time into it or whatever, but it's something that's going to have an effect on the others. And it may only be psychological, it may be emotional. It's going to have an effect on the other chapters. So I just think you should consider withdrawing a resolution and putting together a task force to maybe look at it going forward as to what to do and then how to implement it. Okay?
Sounds like a job.
Mike?
Yeah. Hold on. Do you need a mic?
No, I can probably talk about it.
Okay.
Quickly, the Eastern Mass, Central Mass, and Southern Mass, that was all, Eastern Mass was all set up in 1999 for representation. Central Mass wanted to be represented, Southern Mass wanted to be represented, and so did Eastern Mass. So they set those dividing lines up so they could have a representative from each one. That's how it came about. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that's how it came about. It was all about representation back then. And because they want to keep it balanced. So that's how it came about.
I was just going to ask, do you need this done? I don't. I just have a quick question. I really did not really answer this. Do any of the other chapters have districts? No.
No. No.
Okay. Thanks.
Massachusetts is the only chapter with a district. Question answered. Well, oh, sorry, go ahead.
So, I didn't realize Mark got elected from Central Mass, so I think Mark's a pretty good guy. I know Mark over the last 10 years or so. I think he's a good representative for that area. So what's the problem? You know, you have to work on, you know, you see somebody coming along, you say, you should be thinking about maybe running for office. You have to speak up. So the guys in Central Mass have to speak up to me. Somebody coming along, let's go. In the next 2 or 3 years, you should be thinking about maybe, you know, representing the chapter. So, I mean, I didn't realize what Jimmy O'Leary said. Mark got elected. That's a perfect example of groundwork right there.
Steve Napoli, just very briefly. If I were a leader in Central Mass, I would not want to give up the spot that I have. And the other thing that I would do is I would try to identify future leaders, develop them somehow, some way. I realize there's a challenge with the numbers, but I think you can develop leaders. Thank you.
You know, just so that you all know, what you don't realize is we are trying to produce future leaders and we're having a hard time to get them to come forward, as you all know, okay? That's a big issue that we deal with every time that we sit in the board meetings. And now that we have such a small population of PGA members in a certain area, it's very, yes, Mark is an outstanding individual and he stepped up and is going to do a great job.
But what happens in 3 years? What happens in 6 years? We're trying to look forward to the future of the organization. I value your opinion, gentlemen. I know you've been doing this a long time. You know, and you know what you're talking about. We're looking for the future here. We're trying to make it better down the road so that, you know, we've had individuals from Eastern Mass come up to me and say, Ronnie, I want to run for a district director. I'm sorry, buddy, you can't run because it's not your term. You're going to have to wait 2 years, 3 years. Outstanding individuals that would be excellent in the boardroom, that I would love to have their opinions sitting around the boardroom. And I have to tell them, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to wait 3 years or 2 years or whatever it is to get on the board. So we're looking to the future here, so that down the road, you know, we're not going to change the 3 district directors from Massachusetts today. We're looking down the road to make sure that there is representation. Rob hit it right on the head. I mean, we've got gentlemen we've got, you know, Glenn from Cape Cod, we got Johnny Fields, everybody sits there as a unified unit. They're not necessarily thinking about he's looking out for his Cape Cod chapter members, I get it. But we're all unified. I can tell you many, many times, we get in heated conversations, but at the end of the day, we're always on the same page. So that's what we're looking at, gentlemen. We're looking for the future of the organization, not looking in the past. So that's my 2 cents.
Whoa, you guys, one of the things is they're all ready to jump.
You have 3 more years. Central Mass has 3 more years to work for the next representative. 3 more years you got. So what's the problem?
It's not always that case, though, Jack, and you know.
I can't believe it. I don't know why you're worried about 3 years from now.
So what if Mark takes a job and moves out of Central Mass? Then he's no longer the Central Mass director.
You could have to see, I guess, but
it could happen.
That's what happened, but he could stay on as the.
But as it currently stands, it would have to be filled from that small population.
It would have to be. Then you're down to.
This is why it needs to be looked at further, because a simple answer to that problem is if Mass Chapter becomes the Mass Chapter with 1 representative, then a suggestion I would make is that you have 2 additional independent directors that could be elected from any chapter, opening up even a greater area of people who would be able to serve. And so that you would have a director from each chapter, and then to keep the board the same size, you would have 2 independent directors who may run from Maine. And you might have 2 from Maine for a while, then you might have 2 from New Hampshire, then you might have 2 from Vermont, you might have 2 from Mass. Then you've got true representation of our membership, as opposed to consolidation once again into Eastern Massachusetts.
But what if you had the situation like we do now, where you have 2 president, honorary president, and district director from Maine? You know, if you had open directors, then you get 2 more.
You were all elected.
Oh, I understand.
That's great. You were elected because we wanted to get elected.
No, I understand, but I think that could create an imbalance too, a little bit.
I think one thing that would help clarify this, at least for me, I'm dumb and I'm a senior, so maybe I'm twice as dumb. When we went on, as talked about 25, 30 years ago, with the Southern Mass chapter, we were a chapter, now we're a district. Did the members of the chapters have a voice or a vote, whichever term you want to use, in becoming one district rather than staying a chapter? Or was it the chapter leadership or section board? If you know what I'm saying. I'm saying we banded together as a chapter. We got a bunch of people together. We made a case for it. We became the Southern Mass chapter. We got representation where these people sit today. And then eventually, as Jimmy said, Eastern Mass got that, Central Mass became that. Now we're called a district, whether we're Massachusetts, Eastern, Southern, whatever. Did each member in those previous chapters, though, have the right to say, we want to abolish our chapter and become the Mass district? Or was that a leadership thing? I guess that's all I'm asking. And I'm not saying if it was leadership, it was wrong. I'm just
There is currently, Brian, I'll give you the mic in 1 second. It is 1 chapter with 3 districts. And as far as 25 to 30 years ago, sorry, I can't speak to that.
Well, I understand, but I'm just saying, did the people in those areas get a voice, I guess?
So, I think it was probably 2005 or 6, John Field helped me. I think Todd was involved Todd Scarafoni as well. 3 chapters did come together, and that is when the 3 chapters became the Massachusetts chapter. At that time, John was the longest sitting president of any of the chapters, and he became president of the Mass chapter. And then I think it was myself after John, and then Todd. So it was a discussion amongst the chapters, not the board or the leaders. But it was the chapters coming together at that time. It was probably 2005 or so.
Good thing you're a little older than me. You can answer that question for us.
This was proposed by the Massachusetts chapter, everyone. This was brought to us by the Massachusetts chapter. This resolution did not come from the board of directors.
No, they came to us. This was proposed by the Massachusetts.
Yes.
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 Yeah. This was proposed to
Did not
us.
come from the board of directors.
Proposed
It
to
came
us
from the
because
Massachusetts chapter.
there was an
They
issue
are the
with them
ones that
trying to
want
find
this.
people to serve. That it was brought to our attention.
I think everybody needs to know that. This was not brought up by us. This was brought to us by the Massachusetts chapter to put the resolution in.
Okay. I am ready to get a motion to close discussion. I am going to, actually, hold on a minute. Before I close discussion, I'm going to say something. Gentlemen in the front row, I completely understand where you're coming from. As I said, Jimmy, I'm from the smallest chapter, so I know how it works. I think it is a very healthy discussion we've had today, where there are a lot of things in the bylaws that probably were set 25, 30, 35 years ago that need to be looked at. As we have said, the Mass chapter came to us with this because they are having problems fulfilling their representation quota, if you want to call it that. And that's why it has been proposed as it is. I think this is an excellent stepping point, whether in 2 minutes this goes through or it doesn't. To continue this discussion, and I think Jim Remy had an excellent job interview as far as being the head of the bylaw task force that can be appointed in about 25 minutes. Can I get a motion to close discussion, please?
So moved.
Thank you. Second on that motion. Thank you. Okay. Well, I go back to the script now. If there is no further discussion and discussion has been closed, the chair asks for a motion to call resolution number 2 to a vote.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second to call resolution 2 to a vote. Glenn Kelly. Okay. We're going to do this with a show of hands. If we have to, we'll go to paper ballot. All in favor with a show of hands, please. Yeah, we'll have to go. Yeah, we'll have to go to a paper ballot. Okay. At this point, the section staff will distribute paper ballots.
Mr. Secretary?
Yes, sir.
Can we count by just standing like town meeting?
No. I guess we could. Huh? We could, that's, there's a motion to take the vote by standing. And we will count by that way, if that's good with everybody. All right, so everybody grab a seat. Hold on. Grab a seat for now. That's okay, I'm trying to be like formal, but it should make me go back to my roots. All right, we need everybody to, other than JC, don't worry about it. JC, you don't have to, don't worry about it. No, you guys are fine. All right. Yeah, we have to split the room. We get, Jack, can you come up here, please? No. Well, you can help count. I can't count past 10. It's about 15. Okay. So now we, only Class A members, only PGA members are involved in the vote. We will have you stand first and then stand for those in favor and for those opposed. So at this point, if I could please ask everybody in favor of resolution number 2 to please stand. We will count at this point. Thank you. Okay, thank you. And those opposed to resolution number 2, please stand. resolution is defeated by a vote of 44 to 41 in favor, but it needs a 2/3 vote to pass. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for the discussion. I think it's fantastic that we have such passionate members, and any change is always difficult. I will now conduct the new business portion of the meeting. A reminder, new business constitutes any item which requires an action from the Board of Directors. Examples would include a request to change tournament policy or a proposal to amend the Constitution bylaws. Once you've been recognized by the chair, please state your name and affiliation for the audience. Do we have any new business? I'm going to read this. It says review of the website. What should be available online versus via app or via email? Remembering that a phone or a tool for communication is not research. The directory is currently in a 2017 directory, and how is this helping? And how is this helping people, members looking for updated information? Any comments?
What is the status of the website? I know we both there.
We are in the process of changing website provider. Web.com is a new provider for the National PGA. I know that is going to happen. I think you have a meeting with them this week, do you not, Mike? Okay. Do you want to comment on this?
So we, in an effort to, the directory cost us about $5,500 to $6,000 a year to produce. I'm going to say this is probably 4 or 5 years ago, the board of directors, in an effort to save money, went digital, still producing it and posting it online. Then last year we went with the app, which the app is free to download, and it has every facility in the section, every PGA professional, all their contact information, and certainly we also felt with GPSs and just typing in addresses into phones, GPS systems, the need for the written directions were obsolete. So we thought it was a cost savings in the section. Everyone seems to be using digital means and phones to use them. What was that? Sales reps are in the directory. Well, also the staff directory, the sales rep list. So everything that was in that print version is now in the phone and on your computer.
Thank you, Mike. Any other discussion? We will certainly take this into consideration, Letty. Any other business in new business? We'll move to open forum. We will now move to the open forum portion of the meeting. The open forum is the portion of the meeting where you may publicly thank fellow professionals, make them aware of upcoming opportunities, or say whatever is on your mind. A reminder that this open forum is not time to discuss the business of the association, and any such request requiring an action from the board should have been made during the new business portion of the meeting. Would anybody like to come up and speak in the open forum? I think we've heard from everybody today. Anybody else would like to speak? Danny?
Dan Venezio, Portland Country Club. Just wanted to say thanks to the board for the education online tool. I think that's really cool. As a former seasonal assistant, I often was down in Florida, couldn't take part in a lot of the education, so I think that's a great step for assistants in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Is this time for the past presidents to speak?
Come again, sir?
Is this time for the past presidents to speak?
You can speak if you want, Jack.
So, I usually don't want to say it, but this is almost like the old days. You know, there's a lot of bantering going on. I think it's good. And that's what we should be doing. Okay, the other thing is, I think anybody in Massachusetts, when they brush their teeth tomorrow, should be looking in the mirror and say, should I serve? Should I be the next guy on the movement? Excuse me. But, you know, I can't believe that they can't raise people to serve. I mean, it's not like you're going to work 90 hours at it. You go to meet once a month, or you might get a call. It doesn't take a lot of time to be a director. So I think everybody should think about that. Look in the mirror and say, should I serve, or why don't I serve? That's one thing. And I'm sorry I was late today, because I guess we talked about the home site. So that's always been a big thing with me. It goes back a long time. There's a lot of history on home site. I can remember back when George Weems, our first executive director, he was always big on home sites. And, so the board came up with this idea that they used to take money out of the prize. Like, I don't know, I forget the numbers now, but I think about it, $5 an entry fee, and maybe 10% of the pot was going into this home site fund. And, you know, it got pretty substantial. I mean, it was up, you know, I got up in 2016, it was right around 300,000. And we used it a couple of times to do some build-outs when we moved to our offices, different places. You know, we've had some great offices, and we've had some questionable office space. And, you know, it's really time to step up and do the right thing and get an office that we can be proud of. I mean, some of these offices, I couldn't believe one of them was tall. So, I mean, this is a good thing. I really think this is a great thing. What is, you know, we've looked at some spaces. When I was on the board, I got out in 2016, being a senior rep, for those Steve's term for 2 years, and then they said, you know, you want your own term. I said, sure, thank you. So I did. But I enjoyed being on the board. I mean, I had fun. I met people I would never meet. So I'm talking about the home site. It sounds like they did mention it one time. There's got to mention that area was mentioned, but I think it sounds like they're going to have a pretty good area. It's going to be a good size, and we can be proud of it. We walk in, and right now, even in the office they have right now, it's like they're living in like sardines. I mean, it's time to move on.
Thanks, buddy. I can vouch for Jack. He was very passionate in the boardroom, and you've become a good friend of mine, my friend. And I was hoping that you would say something about the home site, and I hope you're satisfied with the developments that we've put forward. Because every time we sit in the board meeting, we talk about the home site. These guys and these ladies can vouch that what would Jack Neville say?
I've got some opinions on it.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. We appreciate that. But and we can, everybody can vouch for that. I know everybody. We always talk about what would Jack say. What would Jack say? So, anyone else in open forum like to say something? Perfect. Thank you. It's been my pleasure to serve with each and every one of these board members. Their dedication to the New England PGA and the desire to make a difference is truly remarkable. I would like to publicly thank our outgoing directors, Scott Hickey from Cyprian Keys Golf, representing the Central Mass District of Massachusetts chapter, completing his term, his yearly term. Scott couldn't be here today. He's actually on federal jury duty. I don't relish that, but I would now like to publicly thank Glenn Kelly for his time and dedication representing the Cape Cod chapter. Please come up, Glenn. We have a plaque for you, and it reads, New England PGA section proudly recognizes Glenn Kelly, PGA Director of the Cape Cod chapter, in recognition of your distinguished service to the members of the Cape Cod chapter of the New England section.
Thank you, Mr. President. This goes with the other plaque that I have. I'm finishing my second unexpired term, so I can't run in my own right, but if anybody gets ill or moves away, know that I'll be there to fill their unexpired term too. So, but it's been a pleasure to serve with the board. I find myself at that awkward age, too old to start a new career, too young to write my memoirs, so Have a good season, and I can't thank you enough. It's been a learning experience, been a privilege. Thanks.
Thank you, Glenn. I always remember the story of the last time he got off the board, and we were doing this, and we talked after, and he said, "I'm just going to miss the free ties, Ron." Thank you, Glenn, for your service. I would now like to publicly thank Brian Bickford, PGA, for his time and dedication representing the Maine chapter. Please come up, Brian. Again, this reads, the New England Section PGA proudly recognizes Brian Bickford, PGA, District Director, Maine Chapter, in recognition of your distinguished service to the members of the Maine Chapter and the New England Section.
I just want to thank everybody. It's an honor to represent the great state of Maine, and I'd just like to say I love Jack Neville. Thank you.
I think we all love Jack Neville, but we won't get into that. This concludes, oh, excuse me, sorry. We have the installation of the new directors. At the chapter meetings this fall, there were 3 district directors elected to replace our outgoing directors. At this time, I would like to ask Honorary President Robb Jarvis to swear in our newly elected directors. If Dave Donnellan and Mark Aldridge could please come up to the front.
I do solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution and bylaws of the New England Professional Golfers Association and to perform the duties of my office honestly and to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
Congratulations, gentlemen. And before the next board meeting, we will swear Doug Van Wickler in, the new Maine District Director. With no further business to conduct, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor? So moved. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
How are you? Good, buddy. You? Good to see you. Look at Sharp. Jeez.